Chapter 3756. It happened so fast that people were still in a daze when Luo Qingshun stepped off the stage. Many people were still looking at her. Some were surprised, some were jealous, some were envious, and some were jealous. But most of all, it was incredible. Of course, Chun Yueyao was the most upset. She had spent so much effort to kiss a dark-skinned fatty to the point where she could make a sound. However, the next second, when Luo Qingshun went up, the kiss changed from a dark-skinned fatty to Su Qianxi. This, who could stand it? The host was very embarrassed. After all, Fang Qianxi was the national idol. Today, the national idol gave his first on-screen kiss at the Drama Academy. This was breaking news in the entertainment industry. It was estimated that the words Drama Academy would be on the headlines tomorrow. What people did not know was that it was not Fang Qianxi's first on-screen kiss, but his first kiss. This first kiss was deliberately arranged by him, and he gave it to Su Qianxi himself. In addition, under his arrogant appearance, he was very happy. At this time, director Su Yu could not hold back his excitement. After all, this was big news. The national idol's first on-screen kiss was gone in the show he was about to record. Regardless of whether it was a good comment or a bad one, it was an explosive comment. Thank you very much for coming to the show today. Now, in addition to the pending contestants, we have basically confirmed the members. As for the pending contestants, we will select them ourselves later. Please rest assured. After he finished, he clapped first, and then everyone else followed. Finally, I hope that everyone can support the show. We will definitely bring you the best show. Clap, clap, clap. The bustling applause was completely different from when Fang Qianxi first entered the venue. Next, it was the star's grand conclusion. Fang Qianxi did not say anything, but there was a faint smile on her lips. For some reason, he especially enjoyed this feeling in his heart. He enjoyed announcing their unusual relationship to everyone while she was in a panic. Even this kind of enjoyment made Fang Qianxi feel a bit sick, but he enjoyed it. Coming out of the performance hall, everyone who passed by Luo Qingshun would look at her. While glancing at her, they would also secretly take pictures of her appearance. Lu Xiaoyan looked at her incredulously and asked, "Do you know Su Qianxi?" Logically speaking, there was only one possibility for Luo Qingshun to be so sure that Fang Qianxi was looking at her, and that Fang Qianxi had taken the initiative to demonstrate the kiss scene. That is, before today, Luo Qingshun and Fang Qianxi knew each other. But that shouldn't be the case. One was a national idol with tens of millions of fans, while the other was just an ordinary rich girl who had just been admitted to a drama academy. It was impossible for the two of them to have any connection at all. Yeah, Luo Qingshun gave a slight nod as her lips curled into a faint smile. Your great god Su sees cooking isn't bad. Nanny? Lu Xiaoyan's eyes widened, and she tried to lower her voice. You're living together? Hearing that, Luo Qingshun was dazed for a moment and then smiled mysteriously. That depends on your own guess. Calm. Wonderful Book House. Chapter 3757. In fact, they were not living together. At most, they could visit each other often. At night, when they got home, they were pulled aside by an unknown force as soon as they walked into the apartment. Luo Qingshun was dazed, thinking it was a pervert. When she was about to fight back, Fang Qianxi grabbed her arm. The corners of his mouth curled into a faint smile as he said, "What's wrong? Luo Qingshun, do you want to murder a couple?" Ha ha ha. Luo Qingshun frowned and said, "Miss Qianxi, you'd better watch your attitude. If I suddenly announce that I don't want to be your couple, you will lose face. Do you think the entertainment industry is so clear about right and wrong?" Fang Qianxi suddenly got close to her and said, "If you don't agree to be my couple, in the end, it will be you who will be discredited, not me." "Oh," Luo Qingshun said with disdain. "Sure enough, the entertainment industry is full of secrets. Good that you know." Fang Qianxi naturally took her wrist and said, "So, you'd better be good. After all, everyone who goes to drama school wants to be famous." Being pulled by him, Luo Qingshun looked around carefully. She wanted to get rid of him, but found that he held her hand even tighter. I found that Su Qianxi might not have a good memory. Luo Qingchun gave a yawn and let him hold her hand as they walked forward. I remember that I said that I got into this school because it was close. Does it matter? He pressed the button of the elevator and said with a smile, now you are a couple with Qianxi. You can't get away from it. In fact, there were two meanings behind his words. He wanted her to understand what he meant, but he did not know if she understood what he meant. Ding! The elevator door opened. At that moment, Luo Qingchun seemed to hear the sound of camera shutter. At the time of the ding, there was also the sound of clicking. Luo Qingchun was dazed and wanted to pull her hand back, but she was pulled into the elevator by Fang Qianxi. The elevator door slowly closed. Fang Qianxi gently let go of his hand and pressed the button. Luo Qingchun immediately put her hands in her pockets and said, I found on Baidu that Su Qianxi had never participated in such variety shows. Why did she change her mind this time? I suddenly like it. Aren't you being a little too willful all of a sudden? Luo Qingchun pursed her lips. Li Guang's clear eyes flickered as she said, so, you suddenly said that you want to personally demonstrate it. Do you really think that your little fatty's kissing scene is not up to standard? Silence, silence, silence. There was a moment of silence in the elevator. The next second, Fang Qianxi turned to look at her, her eyes as deep as the sea. She pressed her right hand on the mirror in the elevator. Luo Qingchun abruptly took a step back. She bit her lips and said, What are you trying to do? This person was so unscrupulous in public. Now that there was no one in the elevator, wasn't she out of control? Do you think I want to kiss you? Why don't you think that I'm just trying to gain popularity, so I'm doing this in public? Fang Qianxi curled her lips and said, You know, this piece of entertainment news will definitely explode. And seeing how director Su Yu looks, he can't hold back and can't wait until tomorrow. Tonight, I will definitely be in the headlines. Gaining popularity was what every star and the public relations team behind them had to do. Luo Qingchun blinked and said, So what? Didn't you achieve your goal? Why are you so close now? The next second, Fang Qianxi smiled and leaned over to kiss her lips. I just want to kiss you. Ding, affection has increased by 10. Mission completion rate is now 70%. Chapter 3758. The atmosphere in the elevator was getting more and more intimate. Luo Qingchun felt that her cheeks were slightly hot and slowly spread to her ears. After about 3 seconds, she finally came back to her senses. She was about to push him away and question him about the relationship between the two of them. She did not know that the elevator had reached the 33rd floor. Fang Qianxi left his lips reluctantly and walked out of the elevator. Hey no, Luo Qingchun's eyebrows twitched and she felt like punching someone. The arrogant young man was really asking for it. Luo Qingchun pursed her lips, touched her ears, and walked home. As soon as she entered the door, she received a message from a stranger. Opening it, although there were only a few words, it was easy to guess who the other party was. Rest early, Miss Neighbor. Fang Qianxi. Just when Luo Qingchun was about to politely reply, the other party sent a second message. After all, as long as you go online now, you can probably see a high-definition photo of yourself. Fang Qianxi, Luo Qingchun, who originally wanted to politely reply, saw Fang Qianxi's message. However, when she saw his next sentence, she did not have the urge to politely reply. Instead, she angrily questioned, You did it on purpose. Luo Qingchun. He deliberately kissed her in public, then created public opinion, and then, yes, for fame. Beep beep. The next second, the message sounded again. I did it on purpose. Fang Qianxi, damn it. Next time, she did not want to meet such an arrogant young man again. Although, the feeling of being valued and protected was not bad. However, the price of this not bad feeling was earth-shattering. Luo Qingchun said that she still needed to sleep, so she took a shower last night and went to bed early, leaving this terrible news for the next day. As Fang Qianxi said, the entire entertainment industry was in an uproar. From Weibo to Tieba, from Tieba to the headlines of various entertainment websites. Entertainment Circle shakes 3 times. National idol Fang Qianxi kissed an unknown female college student. Gossipy woman. Su Qianxi likes this type of man. Find out why Su Qianxi gave her first screen kiss to a stranger. There were many posts on the internet, but this so-called in-depth exploration post received the most replies. Green Riverside Grass. I think it was the director of the show who forced Su Qianxi to do this. Everyone knew that Su Qianxi would never do a kissing scene, even in a big screen movie. How could she give her screen away on such a small occasion? Miss Gudu. But the problem is Su Qianxi is a celebrity in the entertainment industry. Su Yu is just a small director. How could he threaten her? It means that you are the only one for me. Frightening to think about. Why do I feel that things won't be as simple as we think? Su Qianxi's fan. I don't care. This little bitch who came out of nowhere is definitely not good enough for my Su Qianxi. Firework. To be honest, this girl is very pretty, but she is not as famous as Su Qianxi. Everyone is prejudiced by first impressions, so it is hard to accept. Luo Qingshun was eating bread and toast while reading the comments. In fact, she could completely understand their anger. After all, if her idols suddenly announced their relationship, she would not be able to accept it either. However, this had nothing to do with her. The culprit was Fang Qianxi. End of chapter. Chapter 3759. Luo Qingshun probably didn't know that when she was angry, the youth named Fang Qianxi was sitting in front of the computer, drinking coffee while having a smile that was hard to hide on his lips. Looking at the overwhelming number of comments on the internet, looking at the photos of the two of them kissing on the stage, he felt inexplicably happy, delighted, excited, and happy. It was because his body was secreting something called dopamine. It was as if he had drunk some happy drink. Of course, what made him even happier was that when he typed Luo Qingshun in the search engine, his name would appear in every search. The satisfaction he felt could not be expressed in words. Ding, the next second his phone rang. When he saw the number, he smiled and asked, "How was the thing I asked you to do?" "Boss." The other party replied, "Because this incident is so explosive, your PR team must have taken measures as soon as possible. Not only did they contact the media they are familiar with to remove the most popular news, but they also clarified it on Weibo." Fang Qianxi was looking at the Weibo of Fang Qianxi Studio. The latest post was posted 3 hours ago. Clarification announcement. First of all, thank you for your attention. Su Qianxi did not expect that this incident would cause such a sensation. Her original intention was to let more excellent students of the Drama Academy have a chance to see more professional performances. She hoped that everyone would stop the rumors and give the crew and the members more privacy. Haha, Fang Qianxi sneered and said, "I knew it. Entertainment companies nowadays would definitely not allow popular stars to have undeniable girlfriends. Of course, if they could control it, it would be fine to have scandals with A, B, C, D, F, G. Scandals could create a hot topic. After the hot topic was created, it only needed to be clarified. This way, the popularity of an idol would be stable and would not drop. Therefore, Fang Qianxi's PR team did not need to discuss with him or even ask for his opinion. Because the PR team existed to deal with this kind of promotion and protect his reputation as much as possible. In this way, it was normal that they did not ask him, "Boss, what should we do next?" The other party seemed to have some kind of plan with him, and now was the time to start implementing it. Post the first photo on Weibo and guide the wind. Fang Qianxi narrowed her eyes, raised her eyebrows, and chuckled. "If you want to clarify, I have plenty of ways to make it confusing." All right. Not long after he hung up the phone, someone with the ID Gossip Roast posted on Weibo. There were only a few concise words on Weibo, and there was also a dark photo attached. Gossip in the circle V. On the night of the earthquake, I hope I didn't see it wrong. Fang Qianxi, because they did not know Luo Qingshun's Weibo, they only tagged her. Perhaps it was this confusing photo, coupled with the thought-provoking remarks, that made the news that had been suppressed by Fang Qianxi's PR team become popular again. Looking at the computer screen, he couldn't help but smile. After planning so much, they finally came in handy one by one. "Little girl." He narrowed his eyes and muttered to himself, "You can't escape." End of chapter. Chapter 3760. Yawn. Ding. Affection has increased by 10. Mission completion rate is now 80%. Luo Qingchen wanted to ask who was scolding her, but then she heard the system prompt. It seemed like it wasn't someone scolding her, but someone was thinking about her. Since the drama school performance hall's Fong Qianxi's first screen kiss incident was exposed, the director of the Plain CP show, Su Yu, had called her and told her not to go out for a few days. She just needed to wait for the notice from the program group. The school also expressed their understanding. After all, the drama school had always been suppressed by the performing arts school. But because of this hot topic, the drama school was firmly at the top of the list, and no one could shake their position. Therefore, Luo Qingshun did not go to school today and did not even leave the house. After all, even if she used her toes to think, she would know that the gate must be filled with reporters. She was a plain person, so it was normal that they did not know her home address. However, Fong Qianxi was such a famous national idol. Even if the reporters did not know which building or apartment he lived in, they would at least know which high-class community it was. Although, they could not enter. Because she could not order takeout, after eating instant noodles for 2 days, Luo Qingshun decided to go to Fong Qianxi's house next door for food. After all, no matter what, he was the instigator of this incident. He was responsible for it. Okay? Moreover, she was not that hungry in the first place. But from time to time, there would be the aroma of grilled steak, braised lychee, and grilled fish. If Fong Qianxi did not do it on purpose, she would not believe it. Ding dong, ding dong. Luo Qingshun came out of her house in her pajamas, standing at Fong Qianxi's door and pressing the doorbell. After around 7-8 seconds, the other side came out with a spoon. Ahem, ahem. She cleared her throat and was about to give a speech about why she was standing here and why she had come here to freeload a perfect excuse. The other side narrowed his eyes, and a faint light flashed in his deep eyes as he looked at her and said, "Wash your hands and eat." Luo Qingshun pursed her lips and made an angry face at his back as she said to herself, "I told you did it on purpose." Yes. The next second, Fong Qianxi, who was quite a distance away from her, tasted the soup and pretended to be casual. "I did it on purpose." Luo Qingshun followed the principle of eating people and curled her lips. After washing her hands, she sat down at the table and didn't argue with him. However, Fong Qianxi was really good at cooking. The dishes in front of them looked very appetizing. For dishes and a soup, he really knew how to enjoy himself. The director should have told you. He scooped rice and placed it in front of her. Don't go out for a while. Although he hoped that the rumors about him and her could become as popular as possible, there were still bigoted fans in this world. In order to prevent any crazy things from hurting her, he still warned her again. "Don't worry, my taekwondo is amazing," Luo Qingshun said while eating. "I can fight against 10 people at once." Fong Qianxi put away the grilled beef in front of her and said, "Did you hear what I said? Fong Qianxi, you are threatening me with food." Luo Qingshun pursed her lips and pretended to be angry. Who is to blame for this? Who is the initiator? Tell me. End of chapter. Chapter 3761. After a while, he pushed the plate back and put the lobster on his side into her bowl. With a smile, he said, "Of course it's your fault." "What?" Luo Qingshun stuffed the lobster in her mouth and said, "Fong Qianxi, is there a problem with your understanding?" If he had not shocked everyone in the performance hall, she would not have fallen into the trap of showbiz overnight. Now, he was blaming her? "It's you." The next second, Fong Qianxi looked at her with a gentle look. "Maybe it's because you are too dazzling that I like you so much." Ding! Affection has increased by 10. Mission completion rate is now 90%. He didn't know why he would confess under such circumstances, but the moment he said it, he felt nervous, but more importantly, he finally found someone to vent his feelings to. Luo Qingshun was dazed for a second. Her eyes widened and her eyelashes trembled. She had been eating the lobster, but when she heard this, she felt petrified. "What? Are you that surprised?" Fong Qianxi raised his right hand and touched her face that was full of food. "Am I not obvious enough?" Cough, cough. In an instant, she picked up the bowl of soup in her hands and gulped it down. Taking a long breath, she looked at him and said, "Very, very obvious, okay? Then why are you so surprised?" Fang Qinzi raised her eyebrows and looked at Li Guang. Because I always felt that with your arrogance, you would not admit it until the last moment. Luo Qingxin's eyes trembled. Am I wrong? No, you are right. Fang Qinzi admitted it very decisively, which surprised Luo Qingxin. So, why? But because it's you, I can't do it. He couldn't deny it, even if he was beaten to death. He couldn't pretend to be a fool to the end. She even hoped that the relationship between the two of them could be completely exposed under the spotlight at this minute and second, so that everyone would know. There was the aroma of food around them, but more of it seemed to be an ambiguous atmosphere between them. Little did they know that this atmosphere didn't last for more than a few seconds before Luo Qingxin's text message ringtone rang. It was a message from Ling Mei. Only then did she realize that it was Thursday again. It was another day to fight the big boss. Luo Qingxin rolled her eyes and said, I want to go online and fight a guild boss. You eat first and leave some for me later. The next second, Fang Qinzi smiled helplessly. This wasn't the first time he had lost to a game. This girl was really an internet addict. However, even if she was a girl addicted to the internet, she would only be Fang Qinzi's. Okay. Fang Qinzi nodded and did not give her a hard time. Luo Qingxin naturally felt that something was wrong, but she didn't think much about it. She quickly went home and turned on her computer. At the same time, Qizhan, who originally planned to go online and directly terminate the relationship, suddenly received a call from Cheng Yuya. Whoa. Qizhan, do you really not want me anymore? After Cheng Yuya knew that Xiao Liang did not choose her as a couple, she suddenly found herself in a dangerous situation. She had spent so much effort to make Qizhan her boyfriend. How could you just give up like this? Good night in a chapter. Chapter 3762. Don't cry. Qizhan frowned, feeling a little anxious. However, he had always been amenable to persuasion. Cheng Yuya had always been soft, but she had become sharper. Qizhan, you are so good. You can't leave me. I will always be your little fangirl. I didn't say I didn't want you. Qizhan thought quickly and said, We didn't break up in the first place, did we? Seeing that Qizhan had softened his tone, Cheng Yuya cried even harder. You ignored me in the performance hall today. Do you know how Luo Qingxin and Lu Xiaoyan mocked me? Sob, she cried and said, Today, when we fought the boss, she would definitely dislike me again. Okay. Don't worry. She wouldn't dare to dislike you. Qizhan said with disdain. She doesn't even have the so-called binding. What right does she have to dislike you? Cheng Yuya heard this and felt relieved. She said shyly, Brother Jean, you are so good. Your performance today was also very good. That's true. Hearing that Cheng Yuya began to crazily lick him again, he felt satisfied and triumphant. However, the next second, he thought of Luo Qingxin's face again. She was so lucky that when it was her turn, she decided to do it herself. Now, before the recording of the Plain Couple show, Luo Qingxin's popularity had surpassed many small-time stars. Sure enough, the road to becoming an actress depended on popularity. No matter what kind of work, what kind of play, it was meaningless to explore. The most important thing was to be able to create scandals with famous stars. In this way, without any work, one could become famous overnight. But we're both so outstanding, but that little bitch Luo Qingxin stole the limelight. Cheng Yuya angrily said, She didn't perform at all right? What does it have to do with her? That's right. Qizhan agreed. However, her popularity because of Fang Qinzi is actually being criticized. I have seen the posts on the internet. Obviously, everyone thinks that she is not good enough for Fang Qinzi. Yes. Cheng Yuya covered her mouth and laughed. Even when I went up to read the comments, I felt especially happy. She deserves to be scolded. Just as the two of them were happily chatting on YY's live chat channel, the gang leader invited a few people to join the gang. Guild, Junzi Hao. Since our guild and Domineering Guild have been unable to defeat this boss, we specially borrowed a few people from them. Hopefully, we can get all the first kills today. In the next second, there was a notification in the guild. Welcome players 3000 Flourishing, Handsome Young Man, and Li Mingming to Drunken Dream for 1,000 years. Guild Durian Forget return. Nanny, 3,000 prosperous? Ha ha ha. Hello, big brother. Guild, little Tion. The top swordsman on the leaderboard. I have a feeling we have a scene today. Guild, it's my cat. Li Mingming is also very powerful. It's an extremely powerful long-range job. I remember that it's the same job as Brother Jean. Guild, Ling Mei. I'm much better than someone. When he saw the comments in the sect, Qi Zhan could not help but retort. Guild, Brother Jean. I'm Ling Mei. Is there something wrong with her brain? Or have you been keeping an eye on me for a long time and paid so much attention to me? Ling Mei was not timid at all. Guild, Ling Mei? Oh, please. I was talking about someone. Did I say her ID? Did I say her name? Where did she get the courage to say that? Chapter 3763. For scumbags, Ling Mei had always hated them to death. After all, she had been harmed by a scumbag in this game before, so she had no intention of letting Qi Zhan go. Seeing that the event was about to start, the leader hurriedly came out to stop them. Guild, gentlemen, good news. Let's put aside our personal grudges for now. Today we will fight for the 5th boss, and then the 6th boss. Then we will be the first to get the whole server's first achievement. After all, he had borrowed 3 big accounts from Domineering. If they still could not beat the 5th boss today, then he would really be disgraced as the leader. Guild, Brother Jean. I am not a person who likes to cause trouble. This Ling Mei's damage is low, but she still dares to come out every day. Lingxi, can you take care of your animals? Probably because Qi Zhan mentioned Luo Qingshun. Fang Qianxi, who had been sitting in front of the computer, quickly typed a line of words on the keyboard. Guild, prosperous 3,000. 3 times? The total damage is definitely 3 times. Although Fang Qianxi had not fought this boss before, in order to fight this boss, he had done enough homework. Every dungeon's mechanism, every checkpoint, when to attack, when to dodge skills, he had already understood it all. Although he did not know who the other party was, since they bullied his girl, he had to fight back on the spot. Sitting in front of the computer, Qi Zhan was dazed for a moment. The account Prosperous 3000 was more or less a popular person in their area. This account was probably charged more than 1,000,000 yuan. He did not have much interaction with him, so he did not know why he would suddenly respond to him today. Did he know Ling Mei? Guild, Brother Jean, don't lie, okay? Guild, Prosperous 3000. What do you want to bet? 10 million game coins? Fang Qianxi's aggressiveness made Qi Zhan's face more and more sour. 10 million game coins were more than 10,000 yuan in real life. He was still a student, so how could he spend 10,000 yuan to gamble with someone else? But since they had already said so, if he did not agree, it would be very embarrassing. After thinking for a long time, Qi Zhan decided not to say anything and waited for the event to start. In fact, he was thinking that if Flourishing 3000's total damage wasn't 3 times higher than his, then it wouldn't be too late to slap him in the face. After all, he was quite confident in himself. No matter how good the Blade Master's equipment was, he did not think that the Blade Master could deal 3 times his DPS. Luo Qingshun, who was sitting in front of the computer, felt a sense of familiarity the moment Huang 3000 opened his mouth. This kind of way of speaking, this kind of tone, this kind of imposing manner that could destroy the heaven, earth, and air. Sure enough, all the big shots in this world were arrogant. If they didn't act proud, they wouldn't be happy. Their blood probably wouldn't circulate, and they would easily fall sick. 1 minute later, the gang members entered the map one after another. Sheng Yuya did not enter the dungeon map due to the setting of the scoring system. However, it was precisely because she had not entered the map that she had a chance to think. Qi Zhan's equipment in the game was not bad, but it was nothing compared to Prosperity 3000. Looking at Qi Zhan's current attitude, it was clear that he no longer cared about her. In that case, the only thing she needed to do now was to find her next target in advance. Chapter 3764. Without those broken-up players with low ratings, they entered the dungeon smoothly until they reached the boss. Everyone cooperated well, but the most eye-catching one was still the man with the ID Prosperous 3000. Not to mention that he did not die once. Just his total damage was enough. Not only did he crush Qi Zhan, but his damage was almost 3 times higher than the second-place Li Mingming. No matter how many fatal skills were thrown at him, he was like an army of 10,000, and not a single leaf touched him. None of them hit him. The guild master, Gentleman Good Prep, was also excited as he commanded. The boss HP was dropping very quickly. There were only 3 minutes left before the boss went berserk, and they had already killed the 5th boss. Because Drunken Dream Guild was the first to defeat the 5th boss in the server, there was not only an announcement in the World Channel, but also a server experience reward. They also unlocked the 6th boss. However, due to the boss mechanism, the 6th boss had to appear 24 hours after the 5th boss was defeated. Therefore, they could not fight the 6th boss immediately and had to wait until tomorrow to enter the dungeon again. Everyone exited. Ling may have been paying attention to the total damage for the whole game, waiting for this moment to come. Guild, Ling Mei. Did someone slap his face? This wasn't just a triple damage. God Flourishing had dealt 5 times the damage. Ling Mei jumped out at the right time, because Qi Zhan was already thinking very hard about whether he should go offline or just hang up and pretend nothing had happened. However, Ling Mei had already spoken in the guild, so he had to respond. Guild, Brother Zhan, what's there to say about equipment? Give me his equipment, and I don't know how much damage I can do. Guild, Prosperous 3000. Then I think he probably can't even do the damage now. How can the damage output of ranged and melee be compared? Because Qi Zhan was a range class, and Fang Qianxi was a melee assassin, anyone who had played online games knew that the damage output of range classes was always more comfortable than the melee classes. After all, they were far away from the boss, and most of the time, they would not be hit by the boss skills. On the other hand, the melee classes were under the boss feet, so they had to dodge many skills. If they were hit by a fatal skill, it would be a waste of the CD cooldown time. In the next second, the fans in the sect who worshipped the 3,000 prosperous men instantly surged out. Guild, Candy Heart. I think the damage output is okay. When there is such a big difference in damage output, don't be ridiculous. Guild, Durian Forget Return, agree. I had to bring a nanny before. I can't stand it. Probably because of Cheng Yuya, she who was still thinking about how to seduce Huanghui 3000, immediately thought of a way to get the big boss attention. That was pretend to be weak. Guild, Crescent Moon. I'm sorry, everyone. I know my equipment isn't good, and I've caused trouble for everyone. I will also work hard to make equipment in the future. I hope that when the time comes, I can fight this boss with everyone. Guild, Durian Forget Return Frowny Face Guild. Always cute little rabbit. Guild, Ling Mei. Everyone had the same reaction in their hearts. Did Cheng Yuya take the wrong medicine? She was completely different from last week. Okay. Was there a change this week? Pucci. Luo Qingchen looked at everyone's reactions on the computer and felt it was very funny. Then, he leisurely typed a line of words on the keyboard. Guild Lingxi, ha ha ha. Chapter 3765. Probably because he saw Luo Qingchen talking, Qi Zhan thought that not only was he insulted by his ex-girlfriend recently, but he was also insulted by this strange swordsman today. He was quite unhappy. The next second, he spoke again in the gang channel, and his tone was getting worse and worse. Gang, Brother Zhan. Okay. I'm the boss, okay? Even if I'm the boss, you don't have to say it all the time, okay? Fang Qianxi responded unhurriedly. Her words were concise, and the meaning was perfectly conveyed. Gang, Prosperous 3000. I'm just telling you that some people's names can't be tagged. If you want to use his girl's name, you have to ask if Fang Qianxi is willing. If not, even if he's complimenting her, he is not qualified to tag her. At this moment, the gang that was watching suddenly became lively. Gang, Soft Butterfly Dream. Wow. Why do I feel like there's a melon? Asterisk caret caret asterisk. Gang, Chi Luo. It's not just a melon. I can smell gunpowder. Equals? Smiley face. Gang. Ask me to do homework when you see me. I was a bit confused at first. Why did the boss fight with Brother Zhan as soon as he entered the gang? It's because of Ling Shi. The next second, Luo Qingchen immediately expressed her doubts. Gang Ling Shi? Gang Ling Mei Dam. When did this girl know this boss? How come I didn't know? Gang Ling Shi. I don't know either, okay? As long as everyone skimmed through the previous discussion, they should know who the person that Huanghui 3000 was talking about was. Qijan also immediately realized that the reason this swordsman boss was targeting him was because of Luo Qingxin. Why? Could it be that prosperous 3000 was Luo Qingxin's friend? When he was with her before, he didn't see her having such a good friend. How could it be? Qijan was hesitant as to whether he should continue arguing with a big shot who had spent millions of dollars in the game. At this awkward time, the gang leader naturally came out to be the peacemaker. Gang, gentleman is good. If you have any grievances, you can talk to me privately. I will mediate. Well, after all, we still have to fight OL6 tomorrow. Can God Flourishing and all the other brothers of domineering pride stay and fight for another day? Guild Li Meng Meng. Yes. Guild, charming young man. No problem. Two of them responded. The only one who didn't respond was Huanghui 3000. Qijan frowned. He knew that the other party definitely didn't like him. If he left the guild because of him, he would definitely be blamed for it. In fact, if it was any other time, he would have just quit the guild. However, Drunken Dreams of 1,000 Years was about to clear the sixth boss. Those who successfully cleared the dungeon would not only receive a particularly eye-catching title, but also a set of clothes. This was indeed a very worthwhile thing to do, so he had no plans to leave the association for the time being. Seeing that Fang Qianxi did not respond, Juanhao Haoyue asked again. Guild, Junzi Hao. Prosperous Big Brother, if you have any questions or need anything, you can tell us. The people in our guild are very kind. At this time, he had to put on the image of a big gang so that the other party would be embarrassed to reject him. He had no choice but to lick like this because without the flourishing 3000, Old Sixth would not be able to live. The next second, the boss spoke. Guild, Prosperous 3000. Okay, but I have a condition. Guild, Junzi Hao. Boss, please say it. In an instant, there was an announcement in the World Channel. Player, Prosperous 3000, has successfully changed his name using a name change card. Player, Telepathy, has appeared. After changing his name, he spoke in the guild. Guild, Prosperous 3000. Exchange with Telepathy. Chapter 3766. When Fang Qianxi said these words, the entire gang channel paused. Probably everyone was still in shock until Luo Qingxun said something in the gang channel. Gang Lingxi, boss, you. What do you mean? Gang telepathic connection. Literally. Lingxi, telepathic connection. This name was changed to the best of the best. But the problem was that she really did not remember knowing this Huanghui. Why did the boss suddenly give her the feeling that she had admired him for many years? Gang Juanhao, boss, do you know Lingxi? Gang Lingmei, ha. Boss. Our Lingxi is a super nanny in terms of skill and awareness. She is different from some bad players. Ling Mei was obviously referring to Cheng Yuya when she said some clumsy players. Cheng Yuya was very angry. Suddenly, the number one swordsman in the server was called Telepathic Connection. Why? What was wrong? She originally wanted to leave a good impression in front of the boss, but now Ling Mei said that to her. Wasn't that discrediting her? Gang, Yuya, I don't think it's good to discredit others. You can see her bad character. After all, the boss was still watching. No matter how angry she was, she could not show it too much. In the game world, everyone competed fairly. Everyone had a chance. However, the arrogant young man sitting in front of the computer was not willing to give her this chance. Gang telepathic connection, don't worry. I know her better than you. This time, Luo Qingxun was even more confused. This Huanghui actually said that he knew her better than Ling Mei. Then he must know her. It was impossible to fall in love at first sight after seeing a few characters in a game. In addition, when she played this game, almost no one had heard her voice except Ling Mei. Some people even suspected that she was a man. However, she did not care much about this. How did Huanghui know her? And they seemed to be old friends. Beep. The next second, a friend notification popped up. Player telepathic connection wants to add you as a friend. Do you accept the request? She moved the mouse slightly and clicked yes. Private chat. Telepathy. Let's form a relationship. There was no hello. Are you there? May I? or any other kind of politeness or questions. The other party went straight to the point, catching her off guard. However, she had been hanging out with some arrogant young men recently, and she felt that she had become arrogant as well. Private chat. Links no. Only by speaking concisely and to the point could he display a cold aura. After all, the female lead in one of her favorite novels had once said, "If you don't want to complete a mission, why do you need to bind yourself to others when playing a game?" She felt that this sentence was very reasonable. In real life, she already had a bunch of trivial things to deal with. She didn't want to have another binding in the game that would restrict her freedom. Moreover, what if her proud young man got angry? Private chat. Telepathy. Can I ask the reason? Private chat. Linksy. Because I have someone I like. Private chat. Telepathy. Who is it? Luo Qingqian thought for a while. Wasn't Feng Qianxi the national idol? Weren't the streets filled with his little fangirls? There shouldn't be too many of them. Now she finally found the role of Feng Qianxi after knowing him for so long. Blocking girls. Private chat. Linksy. Have you heard of the national idol Feng Qianxi? End of chapter. Chapter 3767. Ding. Affection has increased by 10. Mission completion rate is now 90%. Luo Qingqian thought to herself that when she heard the prompt, she almost died on the spot. So the Hustle 3000 was Feng Qianxi? Oh my god. Luo Qingqian thought that if it were not for the fact that there was no recall function in the game, she would have recalled the sentence the moment the prompt rang in her mind. Host, don't be smart. The prompt means that the male lead has seen this sentence. As an emotionless machine, what do you know? You can't leave any evidence. But the system thinks that the host is lying to herself. Epsilon equals 00 asterisk. What does it have to do with you? Stay where you are. Luo Qingqian did not have time to talk nonsense with the system. Her cheeks were gradually turning red. This was a naked confession in front of everyone. After a few seconds, Luo Qingqian was in distress and was trying to find a way to change the topic. Feng Qianxi's message came. PM, telepathy, I have heard of him. Coincidentally, he also likes you. She did not know why, but when she saw the message from Feng Qianxi, the feeling of shame disappeared. Instead, she felt warm, inexplicably warm. PM, telepathy, let's be friends. But I have a condition. Asterisk carrot asterisk. She sent an emoji and bought a cute one. PM, telepathy, huh? You want the moon in the sky. PM, telepathy. Feng Qianxi, do I look like such an unreasonable person? PM, telepathy, yes. She was just a smart person who made trouble for no reason. There was telepathy and tacit understanding between people. For example, as long as he said a few words, the other party would immediately understand what he meant. He liked this feeling very much. It seemed that he did not need to spend any effort to explain. One look, one sentence, and they would understand. PM, telepathy. Treat me to a midnight snack. Can we continue eating dinner later? In fact, she was trying to find a way out for herself. After all, she was afraid that when she went to find him, the atmosphere would be awkward. However, reality proved that she was overthinking things. Because Feng Qianxi never felt that the atmosphere would be awkward when they were together. Instead, he felt that he wanted to be with her all day long. They were together when they were working, when they were resting, and when they were playing games. Private chat. Telepathy. Let's go out to eat. Going out to eat? Aren't you afraid of being photographed by the paparazzi at such a critical moment? However, Feng Qianxi did not seem to have this problem. Instead, she pulled her into the team and took her to the sacred land of love. In less than a minute, an announcement was made in the World Channel. System notification. Congratulations to the players' consonants and heart consonants. The road to Jianghu is long. I hope you will cherish each other and live a happy life. Oren Chang, Anne's most handsome. TSK, TSK, TSK. Had the prosperity changed? It was said that this account was sold for more than 200,000. Oren, fatty fatty. TSK, TSK, TSK. Sure enough, only rich people can have a skilled healer. Someone like me can only heal myself with a smuff. Luo Qingqian's healer was also quite famous in this server. After all, Everyone paid attention to the skilled healer, not the weak one who only knew how to complain. Fang Qianxi and Luo Qingshun had a relationship. Of course, the most excited were the members of Zue Mengxian's gang. Gang, Juan Hao Huai, haha. Telepathy, you're the flower of our gang. You just let the top swordsman marry into your family. End of chapter. Chapter 3768. Durian forget return. Leader, you can't say that. Fuxing didn't say he would stay. Guild, Ling Mei, you have to stay. You can't just marry our sister. Asterisk equals M smiley face the next second. Fang Qianxi typed out a line of dog food. Tacit connection. If she wants me to stay, I will stay. Li Mengmeng, don't spread dog food like this, okay? Junzi Hao Hao, I don't want to eat dinner. I'm completely full. Guild Durian forget return. Me too. Everyone was talking, and this was officially the end of the first year of high school. However, in a later stage, the two people in a certain channel fell into a dead silence. Cheng Yuya felt better, but she was not liked by the big boss. Although she was very jealous, she felt that the big boss was an uncle in his 50s or 60s, so he had no taste. However, Qi Zhan was different. Qi Zhan felt that he had been completely humiliated, and humiliated in the middle. Before, he always felt that Luo Qingshun could not let go of him, and even thought that she would be on his side. But he did not know why. Since entering a new school, she seemed to be a different person. The way she looked at him was not only not nostalgic, but more disdainful. In addition, he did not know why. Since he abandoned her, no matter what she did, she was always at the center of the event. It was as if there was a center position reserved for her no matter when and where. From Fang Qianxi in the performance hall to Fu Sheng 3000 now, Luo Qingshun's life suddenly became a bit too smooth. Qi Zhan felt quite uncomfortable. In the past, the two of them cooperated seamlessly in the game, which always attracted the envy of passers-by and onlookers. But now, since his love became Cheng Yuya, he felt that no matter where he went, he would only be despised. He did not feel that his skills were bad, and he even felt that he was quite strong. The person who was weak was not him, but Cheng Yuya. He must get rid of this person as soon as possible. Thinking of this, Qi Zhan said, I wanted to say it later, for fear of hurting your self-esteem. But now, it seems that you don't need it at all. Cheng Yuya was stunned for a moment. Originally, he only felt jealous. Now, when he heard Qi Zhan's words, he was inexplicably angry. Qi Zhan, what do you mean? You don't understand the literal meaning? Qi Zhan sneered. Weren't you happily licking the flourishing 3000 just now? Now that you've failed, you want to pretend that nothing happened? As a man, he could clearly understand the meaning behind every word that Cheng Yuya had just said. Unfortunately, the other party didn't like her at all. That's right. What's so good about this kind of woman? At this moment, he suddenly felt that his eyes might have been shot by a tank. Luo Qingshun was a famous campus belle. Cheng Yuya was not even a beauty. How could he pick up a sesame seed and throw away a watermelon? Cheng Yuya yelled angrily. Qi Zhan, you scumbag. You can forget about it. Even I feel tired of being a jerk. Then, Qi Zhan did not hesitate to exit the YY voice channel and delete all chat with Cheng Yuya. He was about to participate in the Plain CP show. He must not let this kind of woman ruin his reputation. End of chapter. Chapter 3769. Before leaving the show, he went to the land of love alone to resolve the relationship between them. Ling Mei immediately mocked him on the horn, but he did not bother to respond, silently putting the hatred in his heart. One day, he would get his revenge. Luo Qingshun, flourishing 3000, and Fang Qianxi. This relationship was not a triangle, but it was a triangle. In the entertainment industry, it could cause a lot of waves. After making love, Luo Qingshun went to the wardrobe to find a set of black clothes, black pants, a black hat, and a black mask. After fully armed, she pressed the doorbell of Fang Qianxi's house. The moment Fang Qianxi opened the door, she froze. You? Are you going to rob a bank? Fang Qianxi chuckled, gently took off her hat, and said, Armed like this. Nonsense. Luo Qingshun blinked, raised her right index finger, and poked his chest. Someone doesn't know how popular he is? I am now the public enemy. Okay? Director Su Yu has already warned me not to go out if I have nothing to do. My life is in danger. Don't worry. Fong Qianxi took the key, took her hand, and walked out, closing the door. I would rather die than let you get hurt. He said it casually, and his tone was very relaxed. Luo Qingshun pursed her lips and changed the topic that she did not want to hear. Where are we going to eat? West Street food stall. What? When they were still in the elevator, Luo Qingshun suddenly lowered her head. She thought Fong Qianxi would at least take her to a private restaurant or a VIP restaurant. After all, the possibility of meeting paparazzi in such a place was relatively low. However, it turned out to be a food stall on West Street. Wasn't this asking for trouble? The food over there is not bad. It should not disappoint you. Luo Qingshun suddenly grabbed the hat that Fong Qianxi had just taken and put on her head. Do you think I care if the food is good or not? Although everyone yearned for good food, in this situation, was that the point? That won't do. Fong Qianxi put Su Qianxi's hand in her pocket and said, if the chef is not as good as me, why would you go out for supper? Ding! Luo Qingshun suddenly had an idea. She looked at him and said, I suddenly feel that what you said is very reasonable. Why don't we go back and eat? Anyway, there's still so much delicious food left for dinner. Don't waste it. No. Fong Qianxi refused seriously and said, we are already on the first floor. It would be troublesome to go back. And the things over there are really not bad. Let's give it a try. To be honest, Fong Qianxi did not know whether the food there was delicious or not, but there were paparazzi there. He expressed that in order to let this little girl get closer to his heart step by step, he had changed from a person who hated the paparazzi to the core of his life to a person who would personally send news and let the paparazzi take pictures of him. However, the more he did this kind of thing, the more excited he felt deep in his heart. As long as there were more scandals at the beginning, when they participated in the show, people would think that they were a couple. In addition, his public relations team would definitely clarify the matter between him and Luo Qingshun. He was an artist and had a contract with him. Sometimes, not everything could be decided according to his own ideas. He just wanted to make it impossible for them to clarify and then come to him personally. In this way, he could naturally say his decision. Hey, the exemption is over. Welcome the new cutie. Carrot? Carrot. /welcome / carrot. End of chapter. Chapter 3770. Luo Qingshun was dazed and immediately hid her head in the black coat. But he still let Fong Qianxi hold his hand. His hand was warm, giving her a sense of security in the cool night. The food stalls on West Street were very busy. In fact, before they reached the food stalls, Luo Qingshun felt that someone was following them. Come to think of it, wasn't the paparazzi's ability in this aspect? However, what Luo Qingshun felt strange was that Fong Qianxi knew that if he went out at this time, he would definitely be followed, but she still did it without hesitation. This feeling was inexplicably familiar, just like that day in the performance hall. The night wind gently blew her hair. She seemed to think of something and suddenly looked at Fong Qianxi. Yes, are you doing it on purpose? Fong Qianxi stopped and looked at her with a faint smile. What did you just find out? Sometimes he probably liked to see her like this. Surprise, annoyance, anger, but for some reason, there was an inexplicable cuteness. I'm not going. Luo Qingshun shook her head and said, I think Director Su Yu is right. Although I am an ordinary person, my life may not be so valuable. But I can't go. She knew very well how popular Fong Qianxi was. Even if each of her fans spat on her, she would probably drown to death. Before she ran away with all her strength, Fong Qianxi had already raised her hand and said, Boss, a menu and a bottle of beer. Whoosh! At this moment, Luo Qingshun felt that everyone's eyes were on them. It was late. Although the food stalls on West Street were very busy, no one would pay attention to passers-by at night. However, the moment Fong Qianxi spoke, it was destined to be an extraordinary night. First, there was a sharp scream, and then the little fangirls stopped to watch. They all took out their phones to take pictures while making comments that only onlookers should have. Oh my God, what kind of luck is this? Is that Su Qianxi? Isn't what I said nonsense? How many people in this world have such divine looks? F asterisk CK. F asterisk CK. Who is he holding hands with? This is big news. Oh my God, I'm jealous. I'm the only one under the lemon tree. No, we're all here. We're not alone. In addition to the comments of the onlookers, Luo Qingchun also felt the familiar sound of shutters. She was certain that she had heard this voice somewhere before. After Fang Qianxi said that there was no need for supper, countless fans rushed up, asking for autographs, hugs, and photos. He just smiled faintly, glanced at Luo Qingchun behind him, and politely responded, "I'm sorry, it's really not convenient today." As soon as his voice fell, there was a faint sparkle in his deep eyes. It was like his trick had succeeded. He took Luo Qingchun's hand and squeezed out of the crowd, quickly leaving. Luo Qingchun followed her, lowered her hat, and said angrily, "Fang Qianxi, I knew there was so many delicious food at home. Obviously, you want to go to a crowded place. Then why go to the food stalls on West Street? Just go to Century Square." The next second, Fang Qianxi curled her lips and said, "I want to go, but I feel that it would be too deliberate." Chapter 3771. Too deliberate? What was there to be deliberate about? As the nation's Prince Charming, he was walking on the streets without any weapons. Wasn't that deliberate enough? Luo Qingchun thought. This was the end of the line, all right? Even though they were walking fast, there were still fans chasing after them. They did not stop until they reached the gate of the apartment. But here was the problem. Fang Qianxi took the fully armed girl behind her and entered her apartment. Standing in the elevator, Luo Qingchun realized the problem. He immediately went on Weibo and found that everyone's focus was on this issue. My little fan. Did Su Qianxi bring a strange girl home? My heart. 6,685 likes. Feng Yang, don't talk. Let me cry for a while. 5,528 likes. Su Qianxi's eternal fan. I'm going to cry. Who is it? And the problem is that I don't think Su Qianxi wants to hide it. 9,999 likes. The next second, Luo Qingchun gave a like to this Su Qianxi's eternal fan. She was right. Su Qianxi did not want to hide it. If he wanted to hide it, the words Fang Qianxi's mysterious girlfriend would not be trending right now. Ding-ling. When Luo Qingchun was browsing Weibo, Fang Qianxi's phone rang. The caller ID on the other end of the phone was Sister Yao. Su Qianxi, what have you been doing? Although you are a mature artist, you have to be responsible for yourself. Who is the girl? They don't even know how to release a PR statement. Gu Yao looked helpless, but after all, Fang Qianxi was a superstar. Even if she was his agent, she could not take too much responsibility. They did not ask for my permission when they released the statement, did they? Fang Qianxi narrowed her eyes and said, "Isn't it too late for them to ask for my permission?" As an artist, he had a lot of helplessness. For so many years, he did not care about many things and just let them release the statement. But this time was different. No one could stop him from getting what he wanted. So, Gu Yao paused and said in a low voice, "Is she really your girlfriend?" "Yes," Fang Qianxi directly admitted. "Sister Yao, I know that the company will definitely do PR. I am the one who signed the contract, so I may not be able to say anything. Just let them refute the rumors." So what if he refuted the rumors? If they refuted the rumors, he could also create rumors. There were already all kinds of comments on the internet, and he had yet to use his ultimate move. On the other end of the phone, Gu Yao was silent for a long time. Then, she smiled helplessly and said, "Other artists are trying their best not to have any scandals with other girls for the sake of their popularity. Yet, he can't wait to expose his girlfriend to the sun." "Big Sis Yao, are you mocking me?" He chuckled. Even though he knew that there was a huge difference between him and the younger generation in the entertainment industry, he didn't care at all. "I just think it's a pity. You have to know that once a popular artist has a partner, their popularity will plummet." Gu Yao asked, "Do you think it's worth it?" Over the years, Fang Qianxi had missed a lot of opportunities, but he did not want to be involved in anything. He only did what he liked and made movies that he liked. Who would have thought that because of his personality, he would become popular and become a nation's Prince Charming? But now, my popularity plummeted? Fang Qianxi smiled coldly and said, For her, it doesn't matter if I'm a star or not, let alone plummeting in popularity. Chapter 3772. Of course, Luo Qingshun did not hear this, because she knew that it was Feng Qianxi's agent. When the elevator reached the floor, she gestured to go home. Feng Qianxi just touched her head, with a doting smile in her eyes. After returning home, Luo Qingshun took a shower. Still hungry, she planned to go to Feng Qianxi's house to get some leftover dinner. But thinking that he was on the phone with his agent, she did not disturb him and warmed up a glass of milk. Lying in bed, she read the comments on Weibo. Some people said that Feng Qianxi was deliberately creating hype, and some said that she was an ugly duckling who wanted to become a swan. There were even people who dug out the photos from the performance hall that day and compared them with her in Black Today. It showed that the similarity was 99%. To be honest, wasn't it 99%? Then it was the same person. In fact, there were not many negative comments about her on the internet. Although there were ultimate fans of Feng Qianxi who thought that all the women in the world were not good enough for him, most people still chose to look at her appearance. After all, this was a world where looks mattered. Luo Qingshun was beautiful, so naturally she was recognized by many people. However, standing next to such a national idol, she felt a little pressure. Beep! Just as she was thinking about how to become Feng Qianxi in the eyes of the public, her phone rang. Come for supper. Feng Qianxi. Not knowing why, when she saw the word supper, Luo Qingshun felt that her stomach was growling. Coming. Luo Qingshun. Wearing pajamas with a strawberry jacket, Luo Qingshun took her phone and walked to Feng Qianxi's house. The moment she opened the door, she was pulled into the room by someone. The air was filled with the faint scent of shower. The young man in front of her was wearing a nightgown with a dangerous gleam in his deep eyes. Luo Qingshun suddenly realized that her situation might be a bit dangerous. Just as she was about to walk around a certain someone's arm, a scorching kiss landed on her lips. Layer by layer, overbearing and ostentatious, he stole all the territory that belonged to her. Ding! Affection has increased by 10. Mission completion rate is now 100%. The sudden sound of the system notification cleared her blank mind a little. At the same time, she felt that her situation had become even more dangerous. Feng Qianxi wrapped her arms around his waist, trapping him in his arms. When her mind was slightly empty, he kissed her even more deeply. Luo Qingshun knew that resistance was futile. She just had to cooperate obediently. Didn't they agree to have supper? Was he really worried that she was hungry and asked her to come for supper? Why did she feel that something was wrong? After a long time, when she felt that her brain was about to run out of oxygen, Feng Qianxi reluctantly let her go. Blushing, she gasped for oxygen and said, Feng Qianxi, I'm here. He gently tucked the messy hair on her forehead behind her ear and said, come and eat. Humph. Luo Qingshun snorted proudly and sat at the table. Although it was still dinner, after Feng Qianxi cooked it again, it looked and smelled better. Luo Qingshun thought that if she did not eat tonight, it would be a big loss. After eating half of the food, she found that Feng Qianxi did not eat at all. She blinked and asked, You're not eating? He took a sip of coffee and smiled faintly. I'm full. Chapter 3773. Eat. Just as she was about to ask him how he could be full, she looked up and met his dangerous gaze. Suddenly, he seemed to understand the meaning of Feng Qianxi's words. Huh. Luo Qingshun chuckled innocently. That's right. I should be full after eating so much. Feng Qianxi put down the coffee and said with a smile, If you think so, I don't think there is a problem. She frowned angrily and stuffed a big bite of lobster into her mouth. It was delicious, but the person in front of her was also very annoying. Early the next morning, the news about Feng Qianxi's secret meeting with his girlfriend had dominated the headlines of all the major websites. Of course, at the same time, the name Luo Qingshun was also on the front page. The netizens were always Detective Conan. Even if Luo Qingshun was fully armed, they could still tell from her height, figure, and hair length. Over 90% of the netizens thought that the fully armed girl Feng Qianxi had a secret meeting with late at night was Luo Qingshun. The comments of the netizens were as follows. Honey peach is delicious. I bet my head that it must be Luo Qingshun. 1,522 likes. It's my beauty, oh my god. Su Qianxi is so handsome. Even in casual clothes, she is so handsome. 8,555 likes. Drawing love. Actually, I feel that little sister Luo Qingchen really is beautiful, and she doesn't have that kind of face. To be honest, even without the great god Su Qianxi, with her divine face, she would definitely be popular in the entertainment industry. 9,999 likes. Yeah, kitty. I also think she is beautiful. Draw a circle. I think so too. I think the two of them are super compatible, and there's a super CP feeling. Fei Fei. I'm starting to look forward to the couple show. I have never seen Su Qianxi so gentle. His roles are all cold, and he is cold in real life too. How many flowers fall in dream? Am I the only one who finds it strange? She did not wear a mask outside, and she went to the food stall on West Street. So bold? 9,999 likes. After browsing through the hot comments, Luo Qingshun clicked like on the Weibo of how many flowers fall in dreams. As expected, there were still many logical people in this world. Moreover, what these logical people guessed was usually the truth. 2 days later, director Suyu gave them a call and told them the time to join the crew. Most of the stars among the 6 were very happy. After all, the show was not very popular, and Fang Qianxi's appearance not only increased the popularity of the show. Moreover, the scandal between him and Luo Qingshun had been trending 5 or 6 times in the past few days. Whether it was photos of a secret meeting at home or a passionate kiss on the stage, the plain CP show, which was originally a public service show, instantly became a first-tier variety show. Moreover, it became popular before it even started. Of course, not everyone was happy, and Dong Yuyu was the most unhappy one. Her CP was indeed a good-looking boy, but she didn't participate in this program for charity, nor to find a student to be her CP. The only reason she came was because of Fang Qianxi. She thought that no matter how good-looking her CP was, he was just an ordinary person, and she must have more opportunities to interact with him than ordinary people. However, one after another, the scandal between him and Luo Qingshun took away her limelight. At first, some people mentioned Fang Qianxi and her name together in the headlines. Now, Fang Qianxi and Luo Qingshun were completely tied together, and no one could shake them. Chapter 3774. At 10 o'clock in the morning. Because Luo Qingshun did not have an assistant, she put on some light makeup and went directly to the dressing room to wait. Little did she know, she was seen by Dong Ni, the makeup artist of the show. Dong Ni was Dong Yuyu's cousin, which was why it was so easy for Dong Yuyu to become a guest on the show. Who are you? Who let you sit in the dressing room of a star? Dong Ni's voice was a bit sharp. Luo Qingshun frowned and turned around. She knew that this was the dressing room of a star, but because Fang Qianxi asked her to wait here, she did not go to the office but came here first. Naturally, Dong Ni was asked by Dong Yuyu to deliberately make trouble for Luo Qingshun. Luo Qingshun was so smart that she immediately saw through Dong Ni's idea. She picked up her phone, yawned lazily, and pressed the record button. Dong Ni saw her careless look, and the decibel of her voice raised a little. I'm talking to you. Didn't you hear? This is the dressing room of a star, not a place for ordinary people like you to come in. In fact, Dong and I naturally knew that she could not do anything to Luo Qingshun. Although there was no definite information, she was sure that the person who was rumored to be with Fang Qianxi was Luo Qingshun. However, in the entertainment industry, there was no smoke without fire. Everyone in the industry knew that at this point, since Fang Qianxi did not deny it herself, it must be true. Yes. Luo Qingshun's voice was a bit soft, but there was a faint smile on her lips. I just don't know the way. I will leave now. Hearing Luo Qingshun's incomparably timid voice, Dong Ni's voice filled with pride. Well, I'm telling you, you are just an ordinary person. You should know where you can go and where you can't. Dong and I said in a mean tone. Su Qianxi is not someone you can associate with. Huh. The next second, Luo Qingshun smiled even more. So, who do you think is qualified to be a couple with Su Qianxi? This is not something a lowly, ordinary person like you can ask about. Dong and I crossed our arms and said, get lost. Miss Yu will be here soon. She doesn't want to see you. Beep. The next second, Luo Qingshun pressed the pause button without hesitation. Her eyes, which were as clear as water, instantly darkened. Dong and I could clearly feel that the surrounding air had become gloomy. Luo Qingshun curled her lips into a smile and walked towards her step by step. There was a sharp sparkle in her eyes as she said, could it be that after entering this circle, your cousin Dong Yu didn't tell you to be careful at all times? You know who I am? Dong and I was stunned for a moment. She wasn't an artist, she was just a makeup artist. She didn't expect him to know her. And he also knew that she was Dong Yu's sister. In fact, Luo Qingshun did not know, but because she happened to see Dong Ni's name on the list, she asked casually. Of course, she did not know who the other party was, but Fatty immediately said it. It was said that Dong and I had always been a bossy person. Because Dong Yu was a bit famous, she often excluded other makeup artists. It was still common for makeup artists to occupy the makeup room. Seeing that Luo Qingshun did not speak, Dong and I gritted her teeth and said, so what if you know? I just told you that you don't deserve this makeup room. Chapter 3775. The next second, Luo Qingshun curled her lips and pressed the recording button in front of Dong and I. When Dong and I heard the first word, her face turned pale. Recording in the entertainment circle was not a special thing, but she did not expect that Luo Qingshun would record under such circumstances. When she said those words, it was purely to humiliate the other party. Her words were harsh, but she didn't expect that it would be recorded. You? Dong and I sucked in a breath of cold air. Her voice was trembling a little. She had been in the entertainment circle for so many years and never thought that she would be defeated by a little girl. Do you know what I regret the most? Luo Qingshun narrowed her cold eyes and gave a cold laugh. It's not recording your last words. Luo Qingshun, I'm telling you, don't do anything stupid. Dong and I swallowed and pretended to be calm. There are rules in the entertainment circle. You can't do anything you want. I'm sorry, Hang. Luo Qingshun shook the phone in her hand and said, I have a very strange personality. Some people say it's simple, and some say it's direct. What do you mean? It means that the second before I played the recording for you, I had already posted it on Weibo. Luo Qingshun shrugged and said, I think if you have time to talk nonsense with me, you should think about how to explain it to your cousin. Click. The next second, the door of the dressing room was opened, and director Su Yu walked in angrily. What are you doing? Although he used the word we, it was obvious that all his words were directed at Dong and I. Dong and I wanted to explain, but she found that it was meaningless to explain when the other party had concrete evidence. At the same time, Fang Qianxi's phone beeped. He had set Luo Qingshun as a private follower. If she posted on Weibo, he would know immediately. After listening to the recording, Fang Qianxi could not help but smile and say to herself, it is indeed your style. She was never threatened by anyone, and no one could hurt her. But this matter was clearly Luo Qingshun's victory. But Fang Qianxi felt pain for her little sister. Boss, I think Miss Qingshun is really amazing. She actually recorded everything beforehand. Fatty covered his mouth and praised. Fang Qianxi frowned and said, let's go help. Little Fatty, ? Seeing Fang Qianxi get out of the car, little Fatty stood there in a daze and muttered, isn't Miss Qingshun's victory? What's there to help? In the dressing room, Dong and I stood helplessly in the same place and could only make up a story. There's something wrong with the director's recording. She obviously set a trap for me to jump in. Trap, Su Yu coldly said. Weren't the words in this recording you said? Now you're telling me that someone set a trap for you. Don't you think what you said is contradictory? Dong and I still wanted to say something, but Dong Yu had already walked in. She had heavy makeup on, and her face was rosy. It seemed that she was not affected by this incident at all. Yu, Dong and I opened her mouth again and was glared at by Dong Yu. She immediately knew that at this moment, it was better for her not to speak. After all, the more she said, the more mistakes she would make. Moreover, her explanation was really weak. Chapter 3776. Director, this matter is definitely Dong Mi's fault. Dong Yu looked at Su Yu and said, "Here, I apologize on behalf of Dong and I to all the staff of the program. I'm really sorry for causing trouble for everyone." Dong Yu's words felt very sincere, but Luo Qingshun could hear that she wasn't pointing at her at all. Instead, she used a dignified excuse to apologize to everyone. It seems that she guessed correctly. Dong Mi's words to her must have something to do with Dong Yu. Su Yu, after all, was a person who had seen the world. Naturally, he could understand the meaning behind Dong Yu's words. You don't have to worry about this matter. My side director, in fact everyone in the program group, knows that Dong and I is my cousin. Sometimes her temper is a bit big, but after being in the industry for so many years, she hasn't done anything out of line, right? After Dong Yu finished speaking, the staff members standing behind Su Yu looked at each other one after another. Their eyes seemed to say, "Are you sure you haven't done anything out of line?" But Dong Yu's logic was also very powerful. In this kind of short sentence, Su Yu could only nod and say, "That's right, but this time's matter, director." The next second, Dong Yu interrupted Su Yu again and said, "If Dong Mi's words are wrong, then Miss Luo Qingshun isn't wrong." Luo Qingshun heard this, and the corner of her mouth outlined a very faint sneer. Sure enough, in the end, the spearhead still turned to her. They saw her half, leaning on the chair with her hands in her pockets. Slightly narrowing her eyes, there wasn't a trace of panic in her phoenix eyes. As if no matter what tricks the opponent used to embarrass her, she had the confidence to solve it. This kind of momentum couldn't help but make Dong Yu's heart feel a trace of fear. But, in her eyes, Luo Qingshun was after all a newcomer in the entertainment industry. Strictly speaking, she couldn't even be considered a newcomer. So, even if there was an inexplicable fear in her heart, she had to forcibly suppress it. Seeing that everyone was silent, Dong Yu continued, "This dressing room is for stars. Luo Qingshun is just an ordinary person. It is her fault to enter the wrong dressing room." Although Dong Mi's words were a bit harsh, what she said was right. Although Dong Yu's words were not very loud, they were powerful. When she thought she had won, the door of the dressing room was opened again. This time, it was no one else but Fang Qianxi, who said she entered the wrong dressing room. Fang Qianxi snorted, a dangerous flash in her eyes. Dong Yu was stunned for a moment, as if she had thought of something. The moment she lowered her eyes slightly, she felt an unprecedented nervousness in her heart. "Qianxi." Qianxi narrowed her eyes and looked behind her. Fatty immediately stood up and said, "Miss Dong Yu is not a newcomer in the entertainment industry. You should know that in most shows, dressing rooms are prepared by the crew. The reason why the dressing rooms are separated this time is that the boss himself is not used to too many people in the same dressing room. So, every time on the show, he would ask me to prepare a dressing room with the best facilities and environment 3 days in advance." Fang Qianxi walked step by step to Luo Qingshun and then stood firmly next to her. Then she gave Fatty a look. Fatty continued, "Because there was a problem with the dressing room that the crew prepared for everyone yesterday. It is still a bit messy. It can be used, but the environment is not very good. The director asked the boss if he could let the artists use the dressing room we prepared for them." Chapter 3777. Hiss. Dong Yu took a deep breath, and her originally rosy face gradually turned pale. She bit her lip and said, So if it was before, I would not agree." Fang Qianxi's dark eyes were cold as she looked directly into Dong Yu's eyes. "But I want my couple to do their makeup in an elegant place, so I agreed to Director Su Yu's request." This time, Dong Yu's face became even more sullen. She and Dong and I looked at each other, feeling like they were clowns. Because it was a celebrity makeup room, on the list, she asked Dong and I to find a topic to humiliate Luo Qingshun. After all, among all the actresses on this show, she was the most popular. How could she let an ordinary person suppress her own fame? However, there were three things she did not expect. First, Luo Qingshun did not hesitate to post the recording on Weibo. Second, this makeup room was not the makeup room of the show, but Feng Qianxi's private makeup room. Third, she did not expect that Feng Qianxi, such a cold national idol, would break his own rules again and again for a woman. According to Feng Qianxi, if it were not for Luo Qingshun, they would have to do their makeup in the dirty makeup room instead of this elegant and high-end place. A few seconds later, Dong Yu took a deep breath and showed a smile that made everyone feel embarrassed. I am really sorry, Miss Qianxi. The director did not tell me this, so I did not know this was your private makeup room. I wanted to tell you. Suyu spread out his hands innocently and said, You interrupted me so many times in a row. What can I say? Of course, Suyu knew that Feng Qianxi agreed to let everyone do their makeup in his private makeup room because of Luo Qingshun. After all, as a director in this circle, he could tell. Feng Qianxi cared about this girl more than anyone else. In addition, in his eyes, the kissing scene in the performance hall was most likely done by Feng Qianxi on purpose. A national idol, at the risk of losing fans and fame, kissed a person must really care about this person. Therefore, although Luo Qingshun was just a normal student, he was still quite respectful to her. Don't you think you are embarrassed to the wrong person? The next second, Feng Qianxi took Luo Qingshun's hand and narrowed her eyes. If you do not give her a satisfactory apology today, we will not participate in this show. At this moment, everyone revealed a shocked expression. Now that the recording had just been released, if Feng Qianxi quit the show at this time, Dong Yan'ai and Dong Yuyu would definitely be in the spotlight. After all, he and Luo Qingshun had dominated the headlines for so long. There were countless people looking forward to their show, whether they were sincerely looking forward or ready. Su Qianxi calmed down. Suyu frowned and said, Don't quit. We can change the rest of the candidates. He could lose everyone, but not Feng Qianxi. If he lost Feng, the show would be meaningless. I am sorry. Dong Yuyu clenched her hands and bowed deeply to Luo Qingshun. I am really sorry for today. Because of Dong and I, you were misunderstood. Please accept my sincere apology. She knew that if she did not apologize, she would have to say goodbye to the show. Chapter 3778. Luo Qingshun looked at Feng Qianxi, who had a smile on his face. Obviously, he was enjoying the show. Naturally, she could not spoil Qianxi's mood. An apology? If it were me, I would not accept it. After all, you heard the recording. I don't feel any respect. Luo Qingshun smiled lazily and said, I might as well withdraw from the competition. In fact, I have a lot of classes at school. It is not good to take too long off. No. So you immediately stepped forward and said, Qingshun, don't worry. We will give you a satisfactory answer. We will also replace all the makeup artists. Then, he looked at Feng Qianxi. Feng Qianxi naturally received Suyu's look. He shrugged and said, Luo Qingshun is not going, and neither am I. At this time, Suyu's heart was like 10,000 horses galloping. His eyes were clearly asking for help. How did it become a question for Feng Qianxi? Qingshun, look. Luo Qingshun sighed deeply and said, Okay. Anyway, I have posted on Weibo. I'm sorry for causing trouble to others. But, she paused for a few seconds and continued. When there is an avalanche, no snow is innocent. Luo Qingshun's words were particularly meaningful. It could be directed at Dong Yan'ai or Dong Yuyu. There was a dead silence in the air, and Dong Yuyu's face looked terrible. She had been in the entertainment industry for so many years, and it was the first time that she had been stepped on by an unknown person. It felt like there was a fire in her heart, but she could not vent it. However, this show had to be recorded. At this moment, Dong Ni's recording had been posted by Luo Qingshun. Needless to say, there must be a lot of criticism on the internet. The relationship between Dong Yan'ai and Dong Yuyu could be easily found out. The netizens on the internet had a particularly rich imagination. They would definitely be able to find something unfavorable to her in a few seconds. At this time, she could not make any more mistakes, so she could not plead for Dong Yan'ai at all. The person involved was Feng Qianxi, so Dong and I might not be able to survive in this industry. The matter came to an end. Luo Qingshun did not know how the director would deal with it. She only knew that she hadn't seen Dong and I for a long time after the argument until the show was about to start recording. Later, Fatty ran to her excitedly and said that Dong and I was fired. And the program group also made a severe criticism on Weibo, saying that this kind of public service program was too much. Dong Yuyu immediately reposted the post, and Luo Qingshun and Fong Qianxi to express her deep apologies. However, the audience still did not seem to be on side. In the view of Luo Qingshun, Dong's, hers' action. Originally, if they didn't jump out at this time, they probably wouldn't be able to get involved with her. However, after jumping out, there were even more discussions. A wisp of smoke. Why do I feel that this matter is not so simple? Talented little fairy, Dong and I, and Dong Yuyu, haha. In fact, if Dong Yuyu did not come out, I would not have realized. Goodbye, youth. But that Dong and I is really disgusting. What year is it now? It is the 21st century. Okay. Are we still living under the slave system and being divided into different classes? Chapter 3779. In fact, Dong Yuyu had already thought about the comments before she forwarded the Weibo post. After all, she had been in the entertainment industry for so many years and was very clear about the trend of the entertainment industry. However, she had always thought that after she sincerely apologized, even if Fong Qianxi did not reply, Luo Qingshun would reply. Both of them didn't reply at all, which made her feel very embarrassed. Back in the lounge, Dong Yuyu rubbed her temples. Even with makeup, she still looked very upset. Her assistant, Xiaomi, served her a cup of coffee and said, "Sister Yuyu, calm down. Luo Qingshun is really too arrogant. She thinks she has Fong Qianxi's support and is so arrogant." Bang! Dong Yuyu slammed the table and said, "I'm really mad. Who is she? A newcomer dares to treat me like this? The entertainment industry is still long. Let's go and see." Xiaomi was shocked by Dong Yuyu's knock. She hurriedly added, That's right. A girl like her won't go far in the entertainment industry. She's just a newbie who doesn't know anything." She offended Sister Yuyu today. Just when Dong Yuyu was trembling with anger, Qi Zhan knocked on the door. He was holding a box of small cakes in his hand and looked very gentle. Naturally, he had heard about what happened in the dressing room, so he came to find Dong Yuyu. Dong Yuyu's expression was not very good. In addition, she was against the newcomer, so when she saw Qi Zhan walk in, her expression was not very good either. In fact, he felt even angrier and even more unhappy. Seeing this, Qi Zhan showed an elegant smile and said, "Miss Dong, are you unhappy because of what happened in the dressing room today?" Assistant Xiaomi's eyes widened. She thought to herself, is there something wrong with this person's brain? Isn't he asking for trouble? Sure enough, when Dong Yuyu heard this sentence, her originally red face became a little dark. "What's the matter?" Xiaomi immediately said, "If not, can you go out first? Can't you see that I'm in a bad mood? What's wrong?" The next second, Dong Yuyu raised her eyebrows and said, "Are you here to help that bitch?" "Ha ha ha," Qi Zhan sneered. "I think I hate her even more than Miss Dong." In fact, at the very beginning, Qi Zhan didn't hate Luo Qingshun that much. However, she didn't know why, but ever since she broke up with him, her life had been smooth sailing. Not only did he become a couple with Fong Qianxi, but his popularity also increased rapidly. This situation made him feel that it was unfair. Why was he left with nothing after the breakup, while the other party lived a very comfortable life? No, he had to get his revenge. Wasn't Luo Qingshun good at acting? Didn't he know how to flirt? Wasn't he a couple with Fong Qianxi? Wasn't there a prosperous 3,000 in the game? Originally, a game was a game, and reality was reality. They had nothing to do with each other. But now, Fong Qianxi and Luo Qingshun were both at the peak of public opinion. If there was a rumor that Luo Qingshun had a relationship in the game, it would be a huge scandal. Not only would Fong Qianxi be called a cuckold, but Luo Qingshun would also be cursed. Qi Zhan had thought of this plan since last night. He originally planned to carry it out alone, but suddenly he had an ally. He and Dong Yuyu had a common enemy. Dong Yu looked at his eyes and said, "It seems that you have a plan. Miss Dong, you may not know." Qi Zhan's lips curled into a disdainful smile. "Luo Qingshun is my ex-girlfriend." Chapter 3780. Are you serious? Dong Yu was shocked. She couldn't hide the smile on her face and said, "Then is she still in that kind of relationship with you?" "It's no longer the case. So you guys have been together?" Dong Yu asked directly. After all, she was already used to this kind of thing. So there was nothing to be indirect about. Qi Zhan froze for a moment and said with an awkward expression, "I actually despise her. I think she's dull and doesn't understand romance. So we haven't even kissed." "Nanny?" Dong Yu froze for a second and then laughed out loud. "You're too useless. Shouldn't it be that once the lights are off, it doesn't matter whether you're beautiful or ugly?" "I'm a person with principles," Qi Zhan said seriously. "If I think the other person is bad, there's no need to lower myself." Dong Yu held her cheek with her right hand, and her shoulder was slightly exposed. She narrowed her eyes and said, "Then, do you think I'm beautiful?" Seeing this, Xiaomi immediately understood and silently retreated. The atmosphere around them suddenly became more and more ambiguous. Qi Zhan looked straight into her eyes with contact lenses and said, "Miss Dong is naturally very beautiful. Unfortunately, some people don't have good taste and don't know how to look at people." Dong Yu sipped her coffee and said, "I think you're a smart person. You're not here to give me a cake, right?" "Of course not." Qi Zhan smiled and said, "Although I don't have much interaction with that woman now, I know someone who does." "A man?" Dong Yu asked herself. She was quite quick to grasp the main point. If it was a man, then it would be explosive news. "Of course it's a man." Qi Zhan shrugged and said, "Although it's not in real life, I can guarantee that Luo Qingshun is currently two-timing." Dong Yu's expression had completely recovered. She drank her coffee and said, "I'm all ears." In the next half an hour, Qi Zhan naturally told Dong Yu everything that happened in the game. Moreover, he didn't hide anything and didn't hold back. After listening, Dong Yu was especially excited. She blinked and said, "If what you said is true, then Luo Qingshun is finished." She was going to take back the humiliation she suffered in the dressing room today, and she was going to take it back with her own hands. 3 hours later, the show officially started filming. Fang Qianxi was afraid that Luo Qingshun would be too tired, so she had prepared 2 personal assistants for her. She even wanted to send Fatty to serve her. But when it came to the actual program, he suddenly realized that these assistants were all burdens. She was simply a third wheel that interfered with their time together. The first episode of the Plains CP show was held in the amusement park, and each player drew lots to choose the show they wanted to play. Luo Qingshun originally wanted to have a romantic ride on the merry-go-round, but she never thought that. Congratulations to our Qianxun CP for drawing a jumping-off machine. When the host said the words "drop tower," Luo Qingshun felt uncomfortable. Although she had already experienced Qing Gong flying all over the sky, it was not easy to come to an amusement park. Couldn't it be more warm and romantic? Moreover, she really didn't like jumping machines, okay? The truth was that she knew him well enough. The feeling of rapidly rising and falling almost made her nails dig into the flesh of Fang Qianxi's hand. Fang Qianxi looked at her lovingly and did not forget to touch her head in the air. And this scene happened to be recorded by the camera in front of them. The entire live broadcast was in a frenzy. Chapter 3781. Innocent Playmate. Oh my God. My heart is in my chest. Su Qianxi is so spoiled. Su Qianxi's crescent moon. I am so jealous. I really want to be knotted by Su Qianxi. 0, Omega 0, oh. Next stop will be better. Ah? Am I the only one who thinks that they are a perfect couple? Flowers bloom and fall. Luo Qingshun's looks really are high. She is even prettier in person than in photos. If it was said that before the show was broadcast, 50% of the people thought that Fang Qianxi and Luo Qingshun weren't a match. After watching the show, these people should have been slapped in the face. Because everyone had eyes and could see whether they were good enough or not. Getting off the lift, Fang Qianxi gently took her hand and handed her a glass of water. Are you okay? Do you want to take a break? Luo Qing-chun took the water and drank 2 mouthfuls before saying, "Isn't it said that the more rides you complete, the more points you get?" They were the most popular couple. How could their points be low? It is not very important to me. Fong Qianxi chuckled and tidied her hair. Then I have a question. Luo Qing-chun curled her lips and said, "For Su Qianxi, what is the most important thing?" He did not answer immediately, but showed a meaningful smile and said, "You know the answer." At this moment, the bullet screen was flooded with you. In fact, she also knew that she was very important to him. And with praise came criticism. There were still a few comments that were not good for them in the bullet screen. What to explain love? I don't know if it is because I'm old or something, but I always feel that this interaction is a bit fake. Little sloppy. It is not just a bit fake, it is very fake. Come on, these variety shows have scripts, okay? Are the comments with high likes all SSH? System notification. Player Little Sloppy has been muted for 10 minutes. Not far away, Dong Yuyu and Qi Zhan, who had drawn the Ferris wheel, were also having a sweet interaction. In fact, they had been together since last night. In the dead of the night, they made love. Therefore, the way Dong Yuyu looked at Qi Zhan today was a little delirious. She didn't know if it was because she had been in the entertainment industry for too long or for some other reason, but she especially liked this kind of fresh blood now. When the scorching heat entered her body, she felt as if she was about to float. Yuyu, do you like this beautiful scenery? Qi Zhan looked out the window and said, "I feel very lucky to be able to sit on the Ferris wheel and see the city with you. And we could do it together." It was doing, not sitting. Qi Zhan naturally understood what Dong Yuyu meant, and his cheeks turned slightly red. Although he had been in love before, he didn't know why, but he always felt that Dong Yuyu was different from others. She could always make him confused and infatuated. He had to work hard. Even though her popularity was not as high as Dong Yuyu's, she was already half a step into the entertainment industry. As long as he and Dong Yuyu steadily exposed Luo Qingchun's matter, their popularity would definitely rise to a higher level. Little idiot, as long as you're by my side, I'm willing no matter how long it takes. He pinched her face and gave her a pampering smile. Regarding the content of Dong Yuyu and Qi Zhan's show, Luo Qingchun also played it back in Fong Qianxi's living room after the show. She was about to throw up all the food she had eaten that night. Hey, do they have to be so disgusting? Fong Qianxi did not seem to care and handed her a glass of orange juice. Maybe you haven't seen our show. Chapter 3782. Luo Qingchun took a sip of orange juice and chuckled lazily. "I'm not showing off my love." He gently touched her head and said with a doting look, "Of course, I am the one showing off my love." Luo Qingchun suddenly felt that this way of getting along made her feel particularly warm. However, she did not know that at the same time, in a studio, two dark people were plotting how to ruin Luo Qingchun's reputation. "Everything is ready." Qi Zhan snapped his fingers and said, "Do you want the marketing account to do it? Or do you want to do it yourself?" At this time, Dong Yuyu was wearing a transparent tulle and slowly said, "Of course, I will do it myself." 2 days ago, when she posted on Weibo, her attitude was so humble, but Luo Qingchun and Fong Qianxi did not respond at all. The onlookers all felt that she was trying to be nice to them, and they did not intend to pay attention to her at all. And many people said that it was Dong Ni's fault. If an apology could be forgiven, then everything in the world could be forgiven. Then you can post it in a while. Qi Zhan kissed her red lips and said, "Dear, I've prepared all the pictures for you, including the pictures of Luo Qingchun being in love with someone in the game. This kind of girl really is disgusting. She looks cold on the surface, but she's actually fickle and changes her mind." "Yes." Dong Yu chuckled and said, "Do you think she's much better than her? Of course, you're my sweetheart." The next second, Qi Zhan threw her down and said, "After tasting you, I found that those were vulgar. Only you are the beauty." The two looked at each other affectionately and kissed in an instant until midnight. Dong Yu got up, took a shower, and then went on her Weibo. She didn't immediately post the picture of Luo Qingchun falling in love with someone in the game. Rather, she posted a preview. The picture in the preview was a screenshot in the game, and the words were, "Dong Yuyu V. Some people don't need to be arrogant." You know what kind of person you are. Image. JPG. Although it was in the middle of the night, the popularity of the plain CP show was very high. Therefore, even in the early hours of the morning, there were still many replies. Memories are the last stubbornness. Have melons? Who was he referring to? Goodbye tonight. This is too obvious. I think it's definitely a Qianqian couple. A kitten. Please don't ride on the popularity of the Qianqian couple. Thank you, but we don't want to have anything to do with you. Professional flamethrower. Did you say it has anything to do with your Qianqian CP? Does it feel good to take it personally? In love with you. I also think that she's talking about the two of them. Is that what she said? It was just a guess. People on the internet had different opinions, but most of them were inclined to suspect Luo Qingxun and Fang Qianxi. Of course, Dong Yuyu, who originally only had a few 100,000 followers, had millions of views on her Weibo overnight. Most people still said that she was trying to gain popularity, so she replied to all of them. Dong Yuyu, you'll know tomorrow whether or not I'm trying to gain popularity. See you tomorrow at 8 o'clock in the evening. Perhaps it was because Dong Yuyu's plan had been proven to be true, but the crowd's opinion gradually shifted. At that time, does Dong Yuyu really have something on Luo Qingxun or Qianxi? Instead of seeing you, I think LQC is okay, but please don't mention Qianxi. Calm. Wonderful Bookhouse. Calm. Chapter 3783. Luo Qingxun did not see Dong Yuyu's post until the next day. It was obvious that it was a screenshot from the game, and Qizhan must have given it to her. However, they did not know that Luo Qingxun was not the only one playing the game. The recording in the afternoon continued, but during the break, the director called all the members to the conference room to have a small meeting. This was because he had seen the Weibo post about Dong Yuyu yesterday. Although it increased the popularity of the plain CP show, if it was really bad news, it could easily affect Qianqian CP. At this time, as the director, he had to be a peacemaker. I know that this is the first time everyone is working together, and there may be things that you're not familiar with each other. Suyu cleared his throat and said, but since we are participating in this show together, we should be a family. Dong Yuyu snorted. Although it was very soft, everyone still heard it. Although I don't know what you meant by that post, if it is really related to our show, you don't have to post it tonight. The reason why the plain CP show could become popular was because of the right time, place, and all his luck. Therefore, there was no way he could watch this show go wrong. It is indeed related. Dong Yuyu raised her head proudly and rolled her eyes. I think many people here do not know that Qizhan and Luo Qingxun are in a relationship. They used to be a couple. Fang Qianxi narrowed her eyes slightly, but her expression did not change. Seeing that everyone was stunned, Dong Yuyu continued, but it was in the past. Qizhan has not been with her for a long time. However, it does not mean that she is not with someone else. Now, everyone understood the meaning of Dong Yuyu's words. Was Luo Qingxun not single? Did Luo Qingxun cheat on Fang Qianxi when she just added the show? Everyone turned their eyes to Fang Qianxi. His expression did not change at all. He looked at Luo Qingxun lazily, as if he was admiring a treasure. Everyone was shocked. So, Luo Qingxun raised her eyebrows slightly, and the corners of her mouth curled up. What are you trying to say? At this moment, Dong Yuyu was the one who was stunned. She thought that no matter how proud and arrogant Luo Qingxun was, she would definitely panic in this situation. Little did he know that not only was she not flustered, she was extremely calm. It was as if the exposure of her two-timing did not affect her at all. No, this wasn't the scariest part. The scariest thing was that Fang Qianxi was also very calm, as if she did not care that Luo Qingxun was two-timing. Don't you feel ashamed for doing such a thing? Dong Yuyu stood up angrily and said, this is the last chance I'm giving you. If you don't do as I say, don't blame me at 8 o'clock tonight. Suyu looked especially awkward and hurriedly interrupted that, actually, this is a program. Some artists also have partners. Not to mention, Dong Yuyu. Luo Qingxun didn't wait for Suyu to finish as she cut him off. The emperor isn't worried, but the eunuch is. Have you asked Su Qianxi if she doesn't mind? Who doesn't mind this kind of thing? Dong Yuyu clenched her fist and said, Which man can? I don't mind. Fong Qianxi touched her head and said, 50% of your love for me. 50% of your love for the person you're talking about. As long as it is 50% of her, I don't mind. Calm. Wonderful Book House. Chapter 3784. Everyone took a deep breath and stared at Fong Qianxi. How big a man's heart must be to say such a thing. Luo Qingshun, Dong Yu felt that she was about to lose her temper. Gritting her teeth, she said, since you can't be so shameless, I have nothing to worry about. No. So you felt that the atmosphere had reached the freezing point. If it was not eased quickly, he was afraid that the show would really be over. After all, looking at Dong Yu's posture, she must have something to disclose, and it must be a big news. According to the current situation, it must have something to do with Luo Qingshun having another man. In fact, it was not rare for the entertainment industry to have one foot in two boats. However, if there was something that could be used against them, most people would definitely choose to reconcile. After all, this was something that could ruin their lives. In the entertainment industry, there were many unfaithful people, but they could not be exposed as unfaithful. Director, you are spoiling her too much. Although the Qianshan couple is popular, we have so many couples. Dong Yu sneered and said, it's not like I didn't give Luo Qingshun a chance. Do you think she wants to cherish it? Tut. The next second, Luo Qingshun looked up coldly and said, of all your remarks today, only this sentence has a little technical content. What do you mean? Dong Yu did not understand the meaning of Luo Qingshun's words at all, but she understood the meaning of sarcasm. I mean that you want to attract hatred, but unfortunately, the hatred is not in place. Luo Qingshun put her hands in her pockets, and a glimmer of light flashed in her lazy eyes. She said, I won't talk to you anymore. You can post whatever you want at 8 o'clock tonight. If I take a step back, it's my loss. After the voice, Luo Qingshun slowly got up and walked toward the door. Dong Yu's whole body was completely stiff, as if there was a fire in her heart. She had planned to stand on the high ground and wait for the other party to beg for mercy, waiting for the other party to be humble. Little did she know that all of these didn't come to her. Instead, Luo Qingshun's words left her speechless. More importantly, she had thought that Fong Qianxi would be furious after knowing this and humiliate Luo Qingshun on the spot. Although she hadn't released any evidence yet, which man would tolerate his own CP making him wear a hat? Moreover, this person was Fong Qianxi, the national idol. When Dong Yu was about to explode, Fong Qianxi, who was behind Luo Qingshun, suddenly stopped at the door. At this moment, Dong Yu's heart was suddenly filled with joy. Thinking of this, Fong Qianxi finally woke up and wanted to say something. Little did they know, originally, I just wanted to watch the show and didn't want to express my opinion. But suddenly, I feel that I should express my opinion. Fong Qianxi smiled faintly. Even if she Luo Qingshun cheated on me, I still love her. The entire conference room was silent. Everyone seemed to be in a state of shock, and no one made a sound. A few seconds later, Dong Yu couldn't help but shout a few times. Luo Qingshun, wait for me. I will definitely let you know that the entertainment industry is not a place where you can come and go as you like. I will definitely ruin your reputation. No, Yu, listen to me. Qingshun is still a student. There may be something Suyu wanted to explain, but Dong Yu angrily said, I'm telling you, director, even if I don't participate in this show today, I will expose her cheating. Calm. Wonderful Book House. Chapter 3785. Coming out of the conference room, Fong Qianxi took Luo Qingshun to a nearby restaurant for dinner. Luo Qingshun couldn't help laughing as she ate. Why are you so cooperative? I thought you would say it in the conference room. Wouldn't that be a waste of Qingshun's effort? Fong Qianxi put food in her bowl and said, besides, I know you well, and you're very similar to me in this aspect. What do you mean? Luo Qingshun blinked, waiting for Fong Qianxi's compliment. Little did she know, for example, falling from the ground to hell is not scary. Fong Qianxi took a sip of wine and said, only falling from heaven to hell can make people unable to turn over. Everyone only knew that he had always been cold in the entertainment industry and never had anything to do with any female artists. That was why he was given the title of National Prince Charming. However, there were also things that everyone did not know. For example, he was a completely unreasonable man who protected his wife. The entertainment industry was so big that Dong Yuyu had to target his woman. And that Qi Zhan. For Fang Qianxi, his hatred for Qi Zhan must be far greater than Dong Yuyu. On the surface, he looked like a normal person, but in fact, it was obvious from his behavior. For such a big thing, he took the picture from the game, but did not say a word in the conference room. Obviously, he was trying to protect his image in front of the director. How shrewd was that? At 8:00 in the evening, Luo Qingchen and Fang Qianxi were both playing games. The two had a tacit understanding and did not say how to deal with it. However, they were very happy today. Qi Zhan and Cheng Yuya did not come online, and they successfully defeated the guild boss. The people in the guild were very happy and even took screenshots. At this time, Dong Yuyu had posted all the pictures on time and wrote a super long Weibo post. Dong Yuyu V. Actually, there are some things that I did not want to say. After being in this industry for so many years, I know that my reputation is not very good. However, when it comes to relationships, I have always been faithful to one person. If I am with one person, I will not covet another person. What is this? This is like eating from the bowl and looking at the pot. I reminded them again and again not to do such a thing. You can have many lovers, but you can only love one at a time. Originally, I should have forgiven the newbie's behavior. After all, she was still a university student. She was young and impetuous, but I didn't expect that she wouldn't listen to my advice at all. She even felt that it was glorious to have one foot in two boats. I've said everything that needs to be said. Let's take a look at the screenshots. On the surface, Luo Qingchen and Su Qianxi were a couple, but in the game, they slept with each other. Some people might think that I'm making this up, so I'll ask Luo Qingchen on Weibo right now, in front of everyone, isn't the Lingxi in this game you? Isn't it your fate to have telepathy? The moment Dong Yuyu's Weibo post was sent out, the entire Weibo was paralyzed in an instant. Because she had exposed the evidence, everyone was leaning towards one side and felt that Luo Qingchen was a scumbag. Werewolf kill, kill, kill. Damn. Was he trying to cheat on both sides? Su Qianxi's kitten. Protect my goddess Su Qianxi from the front. Didn't they say that Qianchen was a couple? Times have changed. I love the Qianchen couple so much. It really broke my heart. Little talent. Sure enough, the internet can't be trusted. It's all fake, fake, fake. Calm. Wonderful house. Calm. Chapter 3786. Dong Yuyu's words had indeed caused an uproar. Sitting in front of the computer, she had a smug smile on her face. She should be proud. After all, no one could understand the pleasure she felt at this moment. It was as if the anger in her heart had been released. Looking at the comments of the netizens on Weibo, she felt like she was floating in the clouds, waiting to see Luo Qingchen lose her reputation. 5 minutes passed, 10 minutes passed, half an hour passed. Luo Qingchen and Fang Qianxi did not reply, and no PR team stood up to clarify this matter. It seemed that the bloody storm outside did not affect them at all. When they finished fighting the guild boss, Luo Qingchen slowly made a post on Weibo. Luo Qingchen, recently, I am addicted to a good online game. Su Qianxi is super cool. Fang Qianxi. Picture. JPG. Picture. JPG. The picture she posted was a screenshot of Drunken Dream of 1,000 years successfully defeating the guild boss and Fang Qianxi's damage. Suddenly, the picture was very eye-catching. There was no annoying person in it, nor was there an annoying person in it. A minute later, their Su Qianxi seemed to be staring at her Weibo. Fang Qianxi. The bound healer is powerful. Without you, I would not be able to do so much damage. Because you are telepathic and I am telepathic. Luo Qingchen. At this moment, the entire Weibo was paralyzed. When Luo Qingchen refreshed the screen again, it could not be opened at all. A few seconds later, it was back to normal. Whether it was Luo Qingchen, Fang Qianxi, or Dong Yuyu, their Weibo was attacked. All kinds of netizens were in an uproar, pushing Dong Yuyu to the forefront. You are beautiful when you smile. Does that mean that Luo Qingxin's so-called love in the game is Su Qianxi? White sun, what a slap in the face. I suddenly want to know what Dong Yuyu's expression is right now. Shallow in the heart. Ah, am I the only one who thinks that Su Qianxi is so spoiled? Luo Qingxun was called telepathy in the game, and he was called telepathy. Invisible end. Same here. I also think it's so cute. This old man's maiden heart, ah. Detective Sage, here's the problem. Did Luo Qingxun and Fang Qianxi already know each other? Was there anything fishy about the Qianxun couple selection? There were many different opinions on the internet, but almost all of them were leaning towards one side. At this moment, Dong Yuyu, who was sitting in front of the computer, was completely stunned. She widened her eyes and stared at the computer screen motionlessly. She felt as if the sky was falling down on her. How could this be? This was not even a 1 in 100,000 chance. How could he be the person in the game? How could he have telepathy? No. Impossible, absolutely impossible. In an instant, she placed her trembling hands on the keyboard and posted another Weibo. Dong Yuyu, they are lying. They're definitely lying. Fang Qianxi cannot have telepathy. I swear with my head that it is absolutely impossible. In less than a minute, Fang Qianxi posted a second Weibo, completely slapping Dong Yuyu's face. Fang Qianxi 10010 Watermelon Livestream Room. Come and watch. In less than 5 minutes, Fang Qianxi's Weibo had been liked by tens of thousands of people. The netizens were all very excited, as if they were the main characters. Chapter 3787. That blossoming summer. Oh my god. Su Qianxi is going to do a live broadcast. I think it's the kind of voice that makes me drunk. Don't forget me, huh? I'm going. It turns out that Su Qianxi is not only a national idol, but also a master of online games. Kitten, already in the room. Su Qianxi's voice is so good. Don't be too good at playing games, okay? Luo Qingxun also saw Fang Qianxi's Weibo and knew that he was in the game. As a dedicated healer, she naturally got into the game as soon as possible. Fang Qianxi immediately invited her to join the team and clicked on the battlefield. His voice in the broadcast was very gentle, not as cold as usual. In fact, Qingxun is better than me. She is protecting me. It's just that she has a bad sense of direction and often can't find the way. She's very good at playing. Sometimes I don't look at her position, and she kills the enemy assassin herself. Huh? You asked me, when did we meet? I'll tell you tomorrow at the press conference. Today, I'm just here to take someone's head. I hope she will keep her promise. In the next 10 minutes, Luo Qingxun and Fang Qianxi entered the battlefield together. Both sides were skilled players, and they were basically fighting like crazy. Fang Qianxi was really good at playing. Almost many times when they were surrounded by enemies, he would say something to Luo Qingxun very gently. After killing a few enemies, they could survive safely. With such skills, after the broadcast, no one doubted that Fang Qianxi was in love with him, because even a fool could see that he was in love with Fang Qianxi. Thank you for watching my broadcast today. No matter what happens, I hope you can protect Qingxun with me. After saying this, Fang Qianxi ended the broadcast and sent a message to Luo Qingxun. Qingxun, what do you think of my performance? Fang Qianxi. Luo Qingxun chuckled and quickly replied, here's a little red flower for you. Luo Qingxun, beep, not enough. Fang Qianxi. Then what do you want? Luo Qingxun. After about 5 minutes of silence, Fang Qianxi dialed her number. As soon as Luo Qingxun picked up, the other party said, Miss Luo Qingxun, marry me. Her heart skipped a beat, and her mind went blank. Wasn't this question a little too provocative? You? Luo Qingxun pursed her lips and said, isn't this reward a bit too generous? Yes, I know. Fang Qianxi nodded. I will spend the rest of my life thanking you for the reward. Her lips curled up slightly as she pursed her lips and said, all right, I promise you. Happiness had always been there. What everyone wanted the most was in the hands of the person they liked. And the most important thing for both of them was in each other's hands. Such a proposal was indeed thrilling, but it was within her expectations. Early the next morning, Fang Qianxi's agency held an emergency press conference. After all, Fang Qianxi had admitted her relationship with Luo Qingchen. Now the agency could only admit it. The reporters were very smart. Even if the person involved admitted it, they still had a lot of questions to ask. Fang Qianxi sat in the middle, wearing a black suit. Her deep eyes were gleaming. Her eyes were lazy, but there was a faint smile on her lips. Everyone seemed to feel that she had become particularly warm, the kind of warmth that warmed the heart. However, everyone did not expect that Fang Qianxi's answer to the next question would be so amazing. Chapter 3788. May I ask, Great God Su Qianxi, how did you meet Miss Luo Qingchen? In the elevator. So are the photos of you and Miss Luo Qingchen in the room true? Yes, because I asked someone to take them. Everyone. Last time at the West Street food stall, was the person holding hands with the great goddess, Su Qianxi Luo Qingchen? Yes. Oh, by the way, I also asked someone to post the photos. Everyone. Before today, there were many rumors that you two had lived together and went home together. Do you want to clarify? No need. It's true. Every word they said is true. Everyone. At this moment, everyone on the scene, except for Fang Qianxi herself, was shocked. The agent sitting next to him was so scared that his face turned pale. The reporters who originally had a lot of questions looked at each other. The questions were already at the tip of their tongues, but they didn't know how to ask. Because, generally speaking, when they asked questions, there was a lot of correlation. For example, if they thought that the artist would deny it, then they would ask the next question. Under normal circumstances, when a press conference was held, the questions asked by the reporters would be very sharp. The first few questions to Fang Qianxi were indeed very sharp, and the reporters never thought that Fang Qianxi would admit it. However, the fact was that he not only admitted it, but did so without hesitation. Do you have any other questions? Fang Qianxi's starry eyes sunk as her lips curled into a faint smile. If there's no problem, Qing Chun is already waiting for me at the entrance of the bureau. I don't want her to wait too long. Everyone. Sitting next to Fang Qianxi, Gu Yao touched her heart. She did not know why, but she felt that her heart could not take it. She had been carefully protecting Fang Qianxi's various scandals, and he had never had anything to do with any female stars. Gu Yao also thought that he would have a girlfriend in the future. At that time, they would create a scandal for a few years and then announce their relationship when the netizens' patience was wearing thin. However, she did not expect that Fang Qianxi would directly announce her marriage to Luo Qingchen at this press conference. In the entertainment industry, there was almost no one like him in history, and there would be no one like him in the future. No one dared to gamble with their popularity like this. Fang Qianxi was the first. The whole venue was silent. When Fang Qianxi was about to walk out of the door, a reporter finally could not help but ask a question. Su Qianxi, aren't you afraid that announcing your marriage like this will affect your future? Fang Qianxi stopped and narrowed her beautiful eyes. My future is not necessarily to be an actress or a star, but I must be her other half and make her my wife. As soon as he finished speaking, he disappeared from everyone's sight before the people in the venue could react. Because the press conference was broadcasted live, many fans crowded around the Bureau of Official Evidence so tightly that not even a drop of water could trickle through. Luo Qingchen was almost fully armed. She pushed up her large sunglasses and stood behind a bush with a stunned look. What was going on? Logically speaking, if she went out carefully, there should not be so many paparazzi and fans. Luo Qingchen shrank back, and a familiar Porsche Cayenne appeared at the door of the bureau. She glanced at it and saw Fang Qianxi almost immediately after getting out of the car, walking toward her. Chapter 3789. All the onlookers turned their attention to Luo Qingchen at this moment. Let's go and get the certificate. He gently took off her cap. Her curly hair fluttered in the wind with a light fragrance. His hand was warm, and the flashes around her dazzled her eyes. What was going on? Why didn't anyone explain to her? Based on the current situation, wouldn't everyone know that she and Fang Qianxi had gotten the certificate? No, she felt that she had not used the right word. To be more precise, wouldn't it be a hot search in minutes? What is going on? Luo Qingshun pushed her big sunglasses up slightly, although she knew that she was hopeless. But she still wanted to struggle. Ah, Fong Qianxi seemed to sigh and said, "Probably because I just said that I was going to get the certificate at the press conference. That's why there are so many people." You. Luo Qingshun had already raised her voice, but at this moment, she took it back and said, "Tell me, did you do it on purpose?" In fact, she also knew that it was useless to ask this question, but when she heard Fong Qianxi's answer, she felt both upset and warm. "For you, everything I do is on purpose." Fong Qianxi chuckled and said, "Fool, you will never understand. That Drama Academy selection was all for the sake of meeting her. And now, he felt that everything he did was so worth it. After getting the certificate, Fong Qianxi naturally posted on Weibo immediately. He used Weibo very little before, but now he felt that it was a good thing. When he was bored, he would like the comments that said that he and Luo Qingshun were a good match. Of course, when he liked one, a group of people would say that he spoiled her to a certain extent. But they did not know how much he wanted his name to be with her every day. He was the type that would make him happy just by looking at it. On the other side, Dong Yuyu's world had completely fallen into darkness. She smoked pack after pack of cigarettes in the hotel room, looking particularly haggard. Qijan bought some things and came up. He looked at her and said, "You, don't be like this. They will definitely not have a good ending. I will definitely slap." A loud slap landed on Qijan's face. The entire room was so quiet that one could hear a pin drop. "Get lost! Get lost!" Dong Yuyu screamed at the top of her lungs. "If you hadn't provided me with those photos and fake news, would I have ended up like this? I suddenly understand now. You still love Luo Qingshun in your heart. So you deliberately hurt me like this. Dong Yuyu, are you crazy?" Qijan had always been a prideful person. On top of that, Cheng Yuya had always been his bootlicker. Therefore, when someone who thought she was a queen suddenly appeared in his life, he could no longer tolerate such a violent temper. "Am I crazy?" Ha ha ha! Dong Yuyu looked up to the sky and laughed. "Yes, I am crazy. All my endorsements, all my programs, all my movies and TV series have been canceled. Don't you think I should be crazy? I told you not to expose yourself, but you insisted. Who can you blame?" Qijan snorted coldly and said, "Where is your assistant? Do you see her still talking to you? You are now a loser, not the queen you thought you were." Yes, the next second, Dong Yuyu roared, "Qijan, listen carefully. Even if my reputation is ruined, I will never let you have an easy time. You will never become famous in the entertainment industry in this lifetime, unless I die." Chapter 3790. Qijan was stunned for a moment. At this moment, he only felt a buzzing sound in his head, and his mind went blank. He had a good aptitude since he was a child. Whether it was his appearance or ability, he was excellent in all aspects. He even played games very well. This time, it was also smooth sailing for him to get the qualification for the Plain CP show. It could be said that Qijan had not experienced any setbacks. But now, Dong Yuyu's words were like a blow to his head. His whole body's qi and blood rushed to his brain in an instant, completely out of control. The next second, he picked up something next to his hand and hit Dong Yuyu's head. Only to hear a scream. Because Qijan was afraid that the other party would scream, he continued to hit Dong Yuyu's head with the weapon in his hand. Only when Dong Yuyu lay motionless in a pool of blood did Qijan stop and gasp for breath. He gradually came back to his senses. The golf club in his hand was already stained with blood. Qijan did not know why there was a golf club next to his hand. He only knew that when he went to check Dong Yuyu's nose, there was no breath. He took this golf club and killed a person alive. "It's none of my business. It's none of my business," he whispered as he rushed into the bathroom to wash the blood on his body. He was very flustered. His hands were trembling unconsciously. He knew that he was done for, but he was not willing to accept it. He was still so young. He should have a bright future. He could even become a movie king in the future. But all of this was destroyed just now. This was a hotel. There were surveillance cameras everywhere. He killed someone. There was no way he could escape. Cold water poured over his brain again and again. On the verge of menopause, a terrible thought appeared in his mind. Since his life was over, he naturally would not let others have an easy time. Chungyuya, Luo Qingxin. Anyway, he had already killed someone. Anyway, he was going to die. Killing one more was not a loss. Killing two more was a gain. At this time, Qi Zhan was already in a state of madness. If he could destroy the world, he would definitely choose to perish together with the world. 10 minutes after the murder, he turned off the shower and took off his jacket to cover Dong Yuyu's body. Then, he quickly cleaned up the scene. It was as if he was a serial killer, and his next target was Chang Yuya. After leaving the hotel, he calmly called Chang Yuya and told her that he was going to pick her up. Chang Yuya's vanity naturally surged up in an instant. While Qi Zhan was driving to pick her up, she put on a beautiful makeup, intending to make Qi Zhan regret it. Although she didn't have Dong Yuyu's fame and beauty, she was younger than her. In this realistic society, being young meant everything. After Chang Yuya got on the car, she immediately put on a proud look and gently nodded. "Why are you looking for me today? Could it be that Dong Yuyu being cursed by thousands of people reminded you of my kindness?" Qi Zhan first sneered, then showed a meaningful smile and said, "You're right. I'm in a good mood today. Let's go for a ride." Chang Yuya pouted proudly and said, "I can go for a ride, but it doesn't mean that I will forgive you. I never go back to the same old grass. It depends on your performance." "Don't worry." Qi Zhan looked calm. He raised the corner of his mouth and sneered. "I will do my best." End of chapter. Chapter 3791. The scenery along the way was not bad, but as they got more and more remote, there were fewer pedestrians and vehicles on the road. Cheng Yue didn't seem to care at all. She yawned and said, "I'm tired. Don't disturb me. Call me when we arrive at the destination." Since she became Qi Zhan's girlfriend, she had been his bootlicker. She existed to please him every day. But in the end, she was abandoned by him. Now that Qi Zhan wanted to go back, she naturally had to pretend to be cold. And she had a plan in mind. When Qi Zhan deeply apologized to her, she would proudly turn around and leave in high heels. She was not an ordinary person now. She was also a little princess. She was the daughter of Luo Chao's family. But she really hated the surname Luo Chao. It was easy to associate it with Luo Qingxin, but it didn't matter if she thought about it carefully. Anyway, she had driven Luo Qingxin out of the Luo's villa. Now the servants of the Luo's family called her Mississippi. The car drove slowly until it reached a deserted forest. Qi Zhan slowly stopped the car. In fact, Cheng Yuya felt sleepy because Qi Zhan gave her a bottle of drink when she got in the car, and the drink had sleeping pills in it. He didn't intend to take her to the beach at all. He just wanted to take her to the remote forest and kill her. In the trunk of the car, there were murder tools and a raincoat to prevent blood from splashing on the body. After all, this was the second time he had killed someone. Many things in his heart were inexplicably easy to do. At this time, he didn't panic like he did in the hotel. After parking the car, he slowly got out of the car and walked in the direction of the trunk. Inside, there was a 5-centimeter-long sharp knife, which was placed behind him. He slowly walked to Cheng Yuya's side and knocked on the window. Cheng Yuya rubbed his eyes and opened his hazy eyes. When she saw that it was not a romantic beach with fresh air, but a dense and gloomy forest, Cheng Yuya's face suddenly changed. "Qi Zhan, what kind of place are you taking me to? Is this your sincerity?" Cheng Yuya raised her hand and poked Qi Zhan's chest. "Don't think so highly of yourself. If you weren't pitiful." Before Cheng Yuya could finish his words, Qi Zhan pulled out a knife from behind and stabbed Cheng Yuya in the stomach. Her eyes widened and her face instantly paled. She was in extreme pain. She opened her mouth slightly, as if she had used up all the strength in her body. In the next second, Qi Zhan stabbed the knife another inch. His eyes were bloodshot as he gritted his teeth and said, "Since I'm destined to go to hell, then let's go together. Don't you hate Luo Qingxin? You go first. I'll send her to see you now." Cheng Yu seemed to still want to struggle. His hands grabbed Qi Zhan's arms tightly, but in the end, his hands fell down weakly. Her eyes were wide open even when she died, unable to rest in peace. All of this happened too quickly for her. It was so quick that she didn't even have time to prepare before she died. This time, Qi was very calm. Because he was wearing an isolation raincoat, the blood did not splatter on him this time. After Cheng Yuya's death, he took out the tools in the trunk, dug a hole, and buried her hastily. Then, he carefully tidied up his clothes and drove away. According to the time, the police should not have found Dong Yuyu's body in the hotel yet. He still had time to kill one more person. The person he hated the most in his heart. Chapter 3792. He had seen Luo Qingqian's address when he first participated in the show. Although he had never been there, it was easy to find it in a busy area. It took Qi a while to get into the neighborhood where Luo Qingqian lived. Entering the elevator, Qi lowered his hat. When the elevator reached the 30th floor, he looked up calmly. When a ding sound was heard, he walked out as if nothing had happened. Looking at the screenshot on his phone, he stood outside Luo Qingqian's house. Ding dong. When the doorbell rang, Luo Qingqian was watching TV while wearing a mask. Because her house was next door, most of the time when her husband was not at home, she would go back home, feeling like an unmarried princess. Who is it at this time? Shouldn't he be home at this time? Luo Qingqian said to herself and was about to open the door. Be careful. The system feels something is wrong. Luo Qingqian was dazed for a moment, narrowed her eyes, picked up the denim jacket from the sofa, and walked toward the door. Looking at the visitor's camera, it was Qi. He was dressed in black, with a baseball cap pulled low and a cardboard box in his hand. When Luo Qingqian turned on the voice, he lowered his voice and changed his voice. Miss, there's a package for you. Gotcha. Luo Qingqian opened the door and turned around as she walked. You personally came to my house. It can't be as simple as delivering a package, right? At this moment, Qi felt his heart skip a beat, and his breathing became a bit rapid. She was not fooled. She knew it was him. Then why did she let him in? Oh no, she only knew it was him, but she did not know that he wanted to kill her. Maybe she just let him in on purpose to humiliate him. Luo Qingqian, do you have anything else to say? He was already holding the knife in his pocket, ready to stab Luo Qingqian at any time. If I don't have anything to say, are you going to do it? Luo Qingqian leaned on the edge of the sofa, her hands in the pockets of her denim jacket, looking very comfortable. There was no trace of panic. In fact, if there was no system prompt, she probably would not have thought of this. After all, in her eyes, although Qi was a scumbag, he had been educated since childhood and would not do such things as killing. But now, looking at his eyes, he definitely did not intend to let her live today. What was the straw that broke the camel's back? Dong Yuyu? Even if he was disqualified from the plain CP show, this matter would not have a big impact on Qi. He should not have the idea of killing people. What was the reason? Qi saw how calm she was, and his heart became even more flustered and fearful. Why? Why was it that the feeling when facing Luo Qingqian was completely different from when facing the other two? Whether it was Dong Yuyu or Cheng Yuya, although he was panicked when he killed them, there was no so-called fear at all. Just facing Luo Qingqian's clear and lazy eyes, his feet inexplicably wanted to retreat. You have already come to this point. There should be no turning back. Luo Qingqian's cold eyes narrowed, and the corners of her mouth outlined a very faint smile. If you don't do it, I am afraid you will not have a chance in the future. Chapter 3793. Yes, you're right. In the next second, Qi suddenly pulled out a dagger from his sleeve. He looked at her coldly and said, all the grudges between us will end today. Then I'm afraid I'll have to disappoint you. Luo Qingqian's lips curved into a faint smile and said, I don't want to go to hell. Even the king of hell doesn't dare to see me. The moment her voice fell, Qi didn't care about anything else. He picked up the dagger and rushed towards Luo Qingqian. She jumped and dodged to the side. Her right hand directly pressed down on Qi wrist. There was a kacha sound and the faint sound of bones breaking. Ah! Qi cried out in pain. He was about to reach for the dagger on the ground to attack Luo Qingqian again. Her cold eyes narrowed. The dagger was suspended in the air and was about to reach Qi throat. He immediately retreated 2 steps until he couldn't retreat anymore. When the dagger was hanging in the air at his throat, he revealed a frightened expression. You? How did you? Qizhan looked at Luo Qingshun with a frightened expression. His voice was a bit hoarse. How could I let the dagger hang in the air? Luo Qingshun shrugged. Her lips curved into a contemptuous smile and said, It's already the 21st century. Haven't you seen sci-fi movies? You want to be an actor? You don't even know about abilities? No, Qizhan roared hoarsely. Impossible. In the next second, there was a clang sound. The dagger fell on the ground in front of her. Luo Qingshun narrowed her eyes and said, Actually, even if I don't use my ability, you don't have any ability to fight back. The reason why I did this is to tell you that you'll never be able to kill me. Qizhan roared. His whole body was powerless as he sat on the ground. Things had developed to this point. In fact, he should run away. But he clearly knew that there was no point in running away. Even till the last moment, he still couldn't believe that Luo Qingshun had the ability she spoke of. But he had no choice but to believe it. At the same time, Fang Qinzi was sitting in the car, her back wet with cold sweat. 5 minutes ago, he received a call from his manager, Gu Yao, saying that Dong Yuyu's body was found in the hotel. After checking the video, it was found that the murderer was Qizhan. Moreover, the girl named Cheng Yuya had also disappeared. Under such circumstances, the police couldn't help but think that it might be a revenge killing, which was the so-called all roads lead to the same destination. He had already killed Dong Yuyu, and he knew that he couldn't escape, so a terrifying evil thought would appear in his heart. For example, he would kill all the people he hated in this world, and in the end, he would kill indiscriminately. Fang Qinzi immediately thought of Luo Qingshun. She drove home like crazy and kept calling her. But none of them picked up. Sometimes, in just an instant, he felt his mind go blank and he couldn't think. The moment he rushed into the elevator, he felt that his hands and feet were getting colder and colder. It was a bone-chilling coldness. The moment he opened the door, he was stunned. Hey, why are you back? Luo Qingshun blinked and looked at Fang Qinzi's pale face. On the other hand, Luo Qingshun's face was ruddy. She was holding a cup of coffee in her hand, leaning on the sofa and drinking it leisurely. On the other side, Qizhan was sitting on the ground with a blank face. At this moment, he looked very calm, but only he knew that he must have gone crazy. Chapter 3794. Fang Qinzi hurried forward and took him into her arms. His hug was very strong, as if he had used up all his strength, and he was trembling slightly. Luo Qingshun could clearly feel the fear in Fang Qinzi's heart from this hug. Although she did not know why he was so scared, she still patted his back gently and said, It's okay. After a long time, he slowly said in a low voice, Qingshun, I am really scared. It was a kind of fear that spread from the bottom of his heart. Except for him, no one could understand. After a long time, when the police came, she slowly let go of him. Qizhan was arrested and handcuffed. At that moment, his expression was extremely dull. A second later, he burst into tears and kept murmuring, I didn't mean to kill them. I really didn't. The police officer snorted and said, You planned to kill and dump the bodies, and now you say you didn't mean it? Then every murderer will not be punished by the law. As soon as he finished speaking, he pushed Qizhan forcefully and walked towards the door. Qizhan struggled and cried, That person, that Luo Qingshun, she is the devil. She can control the knife with her mind. In fact, she killed them all. She killed them all. Ha ha, another sneer. Every murderer will pretend to be crazy when they know that they're going to die. But your level of pretending to be crazy is too low. The policeman said disdainfully, Do you think I haven't seen Xuanhuan before? The police officers behind him all tried to hold back their laughter. After all, they were on a business trip and did not dare to laugh out loud. Only Luo Qingshun knew that maybe Qizhan was really crazy. Ordinary people could not accept such a shock, not to mention that Qizhan had changed from a normal person to this in just one day. But she did not feel that he deserved sympathy at all. A life for a life was the right thing to do. She really did not feel that Qizhan deserved any sympathy. Of course, whether it was Dong Yuyu or Cheng Yuya, they all got what they deserved. After Qi Zhan's case came to an end, he was still angry with her. It was probably because she didn't pick up his call that he went through a hellish time. After 3 hours, Feng Qianxi finally calmed down. Later, he said that he wasn't actually angry. He just wanted to see her coaxing him. But she didn't know that for the rest of their lives, he would never need her to coax him. No matter how she threw a tantrum, he would always put on a lazy expression and accept it all. Feng Qianxi gave her the best of all love from the beginning to the end. After Cheng Yuya's death, her mother, Wang Mingming, almost went crazy. Her marriage had already been very difficult. Now that she was middle-aged, her daughter had been cruelly murdered. Her spirit had suffered a great blow, and it didn't take long for her to fall ill. At first, Luo Bai was interested in Wang Mingming, but after they got married, he found that she was completely different from his deceased wife. After Wang Mingming fell ill, their marriage came to an end. Suddenly, he would think of the time he spent with his deceased wife. Unfortunately, not only had he lost his wife, he had also lost his daughter. He had looked for Luo Qingshun many times, but she did not want to see him. Some families could be reunited, but there were pieces of glass on the ground. How could they be reunited? End of chapter.